Howdy, yokes! Before we get started today, we just want to let you know that this episode of Bacon and Eggs is brought to you by you. We want to build this thing to be as big as it can be. More episodes, merchandise, events, giveaways, you name it. But we can't do it alone. If you enjoy this episode or any of our episodes, head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/baconandeggs and consider checking out some of the great reward tiers we've got set up over there, or making a donation of any kind. We want to keep this podcast free and available for everyone, so if you have a couple bucks to spare, anything goes a long way, and we could really use your help to make this podcast the best it can possibly be. So thank you for donating, and thank you even more for listening.
All right. Howdy, yokes, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I'm Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And we're coming to you live from a long, long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
To bring you our take on some of everyone's favorite movies.
That's right, we're talking Star Wars.
So get your lightsabers ready.
And count your midichlorians, because we've got a very special guest today.
For Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Our guest today is a known person from the internet, Seamus Gorman, everybody!
Hello, I'm
Seamus.
Seamus Gorman from the YouTube channel called Seamus Gorman. Yeah.
Seamus, I don't think I've ever said your last name out loud. It felt weird coming out on
Did it?
we here in America hit that R way harder than he does.
Yeah,
Gorman.
He said Gorman.
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 Oh.
Seamus, you're from the YouTube channel, Seamus Gorman.
Yeah.
You do a lot of Disney stuff, but as far as I've been able to tell, and I could just be totally mistaken, you've never talked to Star Wars on your channel.
I've discussed it briefly,
Okay.
like 3 videos or something, but it isn't something I talk about much. No, you're correct in that.
Well, we're super happy to have you here to talk Star Wars. I hope that you've got some. I hope that you're as excited about it as we are. We're very, very happy to have you on
I'm
here.
very excited.
Super happy you came on. Like Ethan said, we're talking about Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith today. This movie came out on May 15th, 2005. That was 5,767 days ago. Ethan, what kind of budget were we working on in this one?
That was made with a $113 million budget, which is
sounds like
a little bit smaller than the last one, about $2 million.
Yeah, that sounds like nothing. But it did make money. It came out with $848.8 million. And it is the first of the Star Wars movies, the second Star Wars movie we reviewed that is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with a 79% critic rating and a 65% audience rating and a 68 on Metacritic, which beats a lot of the Marvel movies we did.
Yeah, that's surprising for Metacritic.
Yeah, I'm very shocked that they liked it.
Real quick, we're going to give a couple reviews of these movies.
Like we said in the past couple weeks, we like to do a positive review and a negative review. Our positive review on this movie was actually surprisingly simple to find. I thought this was going to be much more of a challenge. But this one comes to us from the internet, and it just disappeared off my screen. Well,
I have it.
Here we go. I've got it right here. Okay, so this is the positive review. Lucas finds a very creative contrast of life and death as Anakin Skywalker's death leads to the birth of Darth Vader and a black and shadowy operating table compared to Padme's dying moments leading to the birth of A New Hope. Throughout the darkness of the second half, Sith leaves us with a promising note that Palpatine's reign of terror is possibly finally coming to an end. Sith may not satisfy prequel critics convinced Lucas ruined their childhood for not telling his story in the way they wanted, but it's a spectacular outing in the traditional Star Wars fashion. This one definitely doesn't disappoint. 10 out of 10.
Wow.
That's
Ethan, what do you...
10 out of 10
10
strong.
out of 10, yeah, like...
That's high praise. That is high praise. And this comes to us again from Lyle's Movie Files, who we used last week as well. I really like his reviews.
I can't believe that got 10 out of 10 review. Like, 10 out of 10.
Right, like, it's good. It's not...
yeah, it's my favorite of the prequels, but 10 out of 10.
That's high praise.
Yeah.
A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a negative review of this movie as well, and it comes from Ken Tucker over at New York Magazine. And it says, Revenge of the Sith cannot be faulted for lacking surprises. After all, it's a movie devoted not to startling twists, but to answering the questions that came before, and according to its timeline, after. It feels like watching the careful lowering of a gigantic puzzle piece that completes the big picture. Star Wars itself, finally, now and forever, the great saga as a child's enterprise. A saggy, baggy element of empire, conquest, and Burger King scratch-off promotional coupons. Last week I won a free milkshake. May the fries be with you.
That doesn't sound like a scathing review. That sounds like still some high praise.
He called it saggy.
He did call it saggy, but he also says it feels like a gigantic puzzle piece that completes the big picture.
I don't think that's a good thing.
Really?
I don't think it's a good thing. Maybe I'm wrong, but...
I think it did that until Rogue One came out, and now it's like, I've got a lot more questions.
Fair enough. All right, well, let's move on.
Yeah. Seamus, you're our guest this week. I definitely want you to feel free to input as much as you can.
Okay.
But I want to ask you real quick, just as a movie person involved in the entertainment industry, what is a movie in your top 10 favorite films that might surprise people?
Ooh. Monsters University.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I prefer it to Monsters Inc.
No, you don't.
I do.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, and Monsters Inc. was one of the first films I ever saw in cinema. So, but yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. I remember going to see it, and yeah, that's in my top 10, definitely. Another surprising one might be Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I don't know, that's a good one. If that's...
That doesn't surprise us at this point.
Okay,
After
okay.
So we just
Monsters
blasted through the
University
entire
would be
Marvel series.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that I would say that's my favorite Marvel film. So.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is.
It's a lot of people's.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not alone.
Not
on
ours.
You're not alone in that.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and let's get started on the review. Either you want to start with some overarching thoughts, or do you want to dive into the plot? What would you like to do?
We can start with overarching thoughts. I agree with Ken Tucker on this. I thought this movie was a lot better than let's just say it was a lot better than the last two.
I agree.
Which were abysmal, pretty much. Especially now that I've seen a real movie again and can remember what a movie should kind of feel like. And I'm saying this for this movie. It was definitely not as bad as the rest of them. It still struggled to make dialogue happen properly somehow.
It did some weird things with delivery. Go ahead, Seamus.
I was going to say, because I watched it last night, and the one thing I kept thinking was there was so many times where you could tell the actors were clearly acting, and you didn't feel like they were in their character. I was like, that's just clearly a line that's been written that doesn't really fit. And I kept thinking that so many times. I was like, yeah, that just didn't really fit, did it? And I feel like that added on to your point, but...
Well, and that's what we've been saying about the past two movies as well in this series, is that, it felt like somebody took a fantasy novel and adapted it directly to, a TV show or a movie without ever letting a screenwriter touch it.
Yeah. Okay,
it's
I can
just
see that.
Dialogue that doesn't work in real life. It's not how people talk to each other.
Well, and now that we've got Seamus on from across the pond, I noticed this, and I've never seen anybody make this complaint, and maybe I was just listening for it, but did anybody else catch that it sounded like there were times where Anakin almost leaned into a British accent, but not really?
Did
you guys catch this at all?
didn't catch that, no.
It felt like, obviously he couldn't do it, and I don't think that it was written for him to do it, but I think he was saying some line that was really dramatic or evil or whatever, and when you do that you have to say it, if you've ever watched Lord of the Rings, everybody's got English accents or whatever.
Yeah. Same with Harry Potter.
So it sounds like when he's trying to lean into it, he does he puts on this voice that's not his, and it's not Anakin's, it's just this weird, I don't know, epic sounding, but poorly done thing. I don't know.
You will try.
You will try. Yeah. He's I can't, when he's talking to Padme at the end, he's only my new powers can do. I don't even know how he does it. It's not good though. It's not good.
Hayden, I almost called him Haydenson. Hayden Christensen's delivery continues to underwhelm at every turn.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I will say, there's I've watched this series a bunch of times, and this particular time watching these prequel movies, I've caught more than ever before that there is a really interesting arc going on with Palpatine's character. It's an origin story for the Supreme Chancellor.
Yeah.
And Anakin happens to be happening while that's happening.
Yeah, I agree.
Is the way that I almost see these.
Yeah, it's more of a Palpatine origin story than a Anakin origin story. I get that completely. Right,
and we see the big moments in Palpatine's life are meeting Anakin and noticing that Anakin killed the Tusken Raiders and telling Anakin to kill Count Dooku, and to me it feels because what's happening in Anakin's life is just placeholder kind of events, because if you watch any of the animated series or read any of the canonical books between these, none of these adventures are particularly epic compared to all the other things they do. Their lives are constantly like this.
Yeah.
That's got to be exhausting.
Right?
That's the life of a Jedi though, isn't it?
It's got to be terrible.
That is the life of a Jedi. Because you got to think, there's no way that, if I'm Anakin and Padme comes up to me and she's like, let's go retire on Naboo at our young age, I would be like, let's do that. This whole Jedi thing is exhausting.
I get that.
Oh, man. But yeah, I like Palpatine's story. I think this movie, more than Attack of the Clones, when it comes down to it, this movie is by far the most watchable. Like, I had to split it up into 2 parts because I was busy last night, so I had to watch the first half last night and the second half today. And I, like, didn't want to turn it off. Like, I was, like, enjoying it that much.
My thing with Palpatine is that there are 2 things, really, for me. Because the whole thing of him being Darth Sidious was meant to be a big reveal, but it wasn't at all, really. I didn't feel...
Yeah,
even watching that for the first time, I can't remember watching it for the first time, but I don't think that would have been a big reveal. It's so obvious. It's right in front of you.
It was very obvious.
Yeah.
Right.
And then also, the big thing I noticed, and I forgot about, well, I didn't forget about it, but like, you kind of gloss over it after watching the originals. He uses a lightsaber a lot, and in one of the originals, he says, like, filthy Jedi weapon. It's not directly that or something to, like, Luke Skywalker or something in Return of the Jedi. And then he goes and uses a lightsaber himself. And it's like, why?
He is not very good with it.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting choice. Like, if you watch the fight with him and Mace Windu, I don't know if it's because Samuel L. Jackson and the guy that plays Palpatine, who I can't think of the name of right now, are just older. But, like, clearly they did, for the Anakin Obi-Wan fight, there was a lot of choreography, and it was extremely physical, and they, like, really got into it. Like, you know, you can watch all the backlogs of footage. They'd practice like 40 hours a week getting this fight down. And when you watch the Palpatine Windu fight, it just looks labored, almost like the Vader Luke fight in Empire, where it's like, you know, the lightsaber almost looks heavy. You know, it's fast, and it's much faster than any of the original trilogy fights. Yeah. But it still looks a lot labored compared to the other fights in the prequels, if that makes any sense.
But yeah, that was the big thing. Like, there's the fight at the end between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and it just completely undermines their fight in A New Hope. Like, it makes it just look like they aged like 50 years or something in between them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was intentional, but like they overdid it almost.
Well, and Ty and I were talking about this earlier today, but like if Darth Vader didn't have all of his limbs cut off, man, he would have whipped Luke Skywalker's butt.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he would have been so... Because like that's the whole thing is the Darth Vader suit is he's in constant pain. Like the reason that because he is the chosen one, right? He is more powerful than any Jedi or Sith to have ever lived. So there's no reason why he wouldn't have just overthrown Palpatine.
Well, that wasn't the reason because he was in the suit, so he was less able than he was before he had his limbs cut off.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is like he is in constant torture. Yeah. Like I think the reason Palpatine went to save him was because he knew he could now control him.
Yeah.
Because Anakin says to Padme, you know, my new empire, I'll overthrow Darth Sidious. And I think Sidious hears that and is like, no, you're not going to do that.
Yeah. So
your new empire!
Get beaten.
My allegiance is to the Republic! To democracy!
Oh, Ewan McGregor in that last fight scene, that whole, I don't even know what word I'm trying to use, but the whole time they're there for doing that fight.
It's pretty much the whole third act.
Yeah, from the time he gets off the ship to the time in which he walks away from Anakin, goes back and forth between the best acting and the worst acting of the entire trilogy.
I like
some of his
a lot.
lines, some of his lines are so epically delivered that I'm just like, man, I really felt that. And some of them I'm like, what, huh? Who are you?
The way that they talk to each other, like Anakin, the way I explained it to you, Ethan, was when we were talking about it earlier. It's like because a lot of people complain that he just immediately gives in and is like, you know, I'll do whatever you say, just save Padme. I feel like this whole time, the sort of dark side has just been kind of building out to the point where when he walks in on Mace Windu holding his lightsaber to Sheev, it's basically a soap bubble. And inside that soap bubble is like Sith rage. And that's the only thing holding it back. And I feel like when it's gone, it's gone. Like there is no remorse left within that man. There is no positive thinking. He is immediately the most evil person because if you look at like the way he talks to Obi-Wan throughout Attack of the Clones and in this movie, he's like with a lot of reverence and respect. Like his biggest confliction is that his good friend Palpatine and his good friend Obi-Wan don't trust each other.
Don't see eye to eye,
each other. And I think like just that he's able to go that far into it, you know, because the one person who does trust him seems to trust both of the other people in Padme. And I don't know, I feel like it makes sense that he would just immediately give in that much. Like Anakin is not acting the way a person would act because Jedi aren't people. They are like controlled by a magical force called the Force. Not controlled, but like they're everything about them is amplified.
Right. And I fully understand that, but the issue is, I think people have have with it is the movie does a piss poor job of showing that, because that whole transition from him going, oh, I'm going to tell this council we're going to arrest you, and he walks out of the chamber, to him coming back and seeing Mace Windu standing there with a lightsaber, that whole thing is like 2.5 minutes of movie.
Yeah, he just, turns in
He
no
just
time.
snaps.
I don't think he snaps. I think he already made the decision that he wasn't going to let Palpatine die. That's why he goes and turns him over.
No, I agree with that. I'm just saying that that you very much have credence to it. I think the movie could have done a better job of showing that.
Yeah, for sure. Because I've seen this movie probably 20 times, and like you have to really pay attention to the dialogue.
Lord.
What?
You've seen this movie 20 times?
I love this movie.
I had no idea.
I love the prequels in general.
I'm learning so much about you right now.
You've not seen this movie 20 times?
Not 20.
I've probably seen it
say more than
6 or 7 times.
Yeah, I'm probably more on that level.
I'd say more than 10, less than 20.
I did have the video game for it for the PS2, and I played that until the disc broke.
Yeah, I played the video game for it probably more than I've watched the film.
It was like one of the only good movie-based video games ever.
Spider-Man 2
I felt like
was a
some
great
of the
movie.
Star Wars films in the prequel sense were made for video games. Like that scene in Attack of the Clones.
Oh, yeah.
Was
Which
surely
one?
made.
The Coliseum.
The one I'm thinking, the one where they're going through, like, I don't know how to describe it. I haven't seen that film in so long, but there's like a scene where I don't know. I feel like you're on the same page as me.
Are you talking about like when they're in the? I think there's 2 scenes you could be referring to. The droid factory.
The droid factory. That's the one I'm referring to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be like an obstacle course in a video game.
Yeah. It just felt like it.
Oh, 100%.
And
Well, the games back then were great. Like Battlefront was awesome. Battlefront 2 was awesome.
Battlefront 2 was a freaking blue disc. Fight me. My PS2 doesn't play blue discs anymore.
Well, my computer has Battlefront 2. I was on Twitch playing that today.
I'm still mad. Oh, I don't know why they ever did that.
No idea.
It's a whole different topic.
Let's get into the plot. Did you guys read the scrolling text for this movie?
yes, I always read it, even though I've seen them like 100 times.
Yeah,
It's
I always
awful.
read it. They're all awful in the prequels.
It's so bad. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Is there a... Let me see if I can find it. Literally, it says, the Republic is crumbling under attacks by the ruthless Sith Lord Count Dooku. That makes sense. There are heroes on both sides. No, there's not. Evil is everywhere. I think there's villains on both sides. I think that's what this movie really, like, you got to dig into to see. I think one of the problems when watching the prequels is that you, like, implicitly trust the Jedi Order and the Jedi Council, and they're so wrong on so many things.
And they're delving into that so much more now, after The Last Jedi at least, which is good.
Yeah.
So what I caught on to with this movie that I didn't really catch on to with the first couple movies is they're trying to make these movies full of reveals. Like they're trying to play this off as if you don't know what's gonna happen. And like we deserve better than that.
Yeah, because obviously you know what's going to happen.
I think they did it so wrong. They should have. I don't think because they spoiled the big reveal of Anakin being Vader and being Luke's father. They should have completely found a way to keep that out, so not reveal Anakin to be Vader.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Is like
Because
I don't know.
then you can watch it through from 1 to 6, and that can still be a big reveal by episode 5.
right. It's like you can't watch, and I never really thought about it. I guess because I've never necessarily watched them in like machete order or whatever it's called. But yeah, you can't watch them 1 to 6. Not if you've never seen them before.
Yeah.
Well, it's just not a mystery then.
Right. Well, that ruins all of
But
4 and 5.
you're sitting through 4, like, why did Obi-Wan say Luke's father was dead? And it's confusing, because that's the way I watched it through the first time.
He is dead. Anakin Skywalker's dead.
Yeah, my understanding is that Anakin Skywalker is no more.
I get what he means, but like from a perspective, you're like, he's still alive.
Oh, for sure.
He's living on.
Right,
sure,
like
but
there is still the guy who is my father is still breathing.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's like, I noticed it in the crawl of this movie because I wrote down, so Chancellor Palpatine has been captured. I'm making air quotes here. You can't see them because it's audio. I'm making air quotes. And it's like, the crawl even is trying to tell us, like, oh yeah, the Chancellor's been captured by General Grievous. And I'm like, the Chancellor willingly got on a ship. I know what's up here. And I knew it was up here when I was 12. Like,
I actually think that first scene, all the bit from saving Palpatine, other than the like fight with Dooku, I think that was the worst bit. I think that was the bit I was most bored during, and then after that I was fine.
yeah,
There's
I would
the
agree
fight
with that.
Dooku, and then I don't really understand what Grievous is at all. He's like a robot that coughs, to my knowledge.
there's like a living being in there.
Yeah.
well, there's not a living being. There's a heart in there. I think.
No, there's eyes too. There's some sort of being because he has real eyes.
Yeah, it's I think what happened with Grievous was, like, George Lucas was like, people have been writing all these stories about Star Wars, and we call that canon. I think I'm gonna, like, borrow from that and put it into the movie.
But he forgot to give it an origin.
Right, and Grievous, and he did the same thing with Maul and stuff, but now they're talking about General Grievous like it's a character you should know a lot about.
It's like he's introduced in the crawl, like, General Grievous is captured, and I'm like, who? And then he walks in, and I'm like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
And I still didn't even know until Viceroy Gunray's like, General Grievous, you have captured Palpatine.
Yeah, I if I didn't know going into the film who General Grievous is, because, like, you obviously know, you recognize the character once you've seen it a few times, but, like, I would have had no idea, like, who that weird robot guy was.
And, like, they could have, I mean, they had the same problem with Dooku, where they were like, if you're not really paying attention, you're like, who is Darth Tyrannus? Is that the same as Count Dooku? Count Dooku sounds like an evil name already.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need a Sith name if your name is Count.
You're still stuck on this.
It just doesn't make any sense. Seamus hasn't heard this joke. I don't know if he listens to the show, but that episode's not even live.
Yeah, no, but I edited it last night listening to you talk about this exact thing.
Wait, so Count Dooku, he got another name then?
So his, like, from my understanding, his birth name is Count Dooku, and then his, like, Darth Sidious assigned name.
His parents named him Count.
First name?
That's my understanding.
I thought it was like an Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of name, because they get themselves cooler names once they become Jedi, right?
I don't know. That I couldn't answer.
I didn't. I just made that up. But well, like Ben Kenobi, he's clearly changed his
Jonathan
name.
Carlin will disagree with you strongly on this.
What?
As to whether or not Jedi pick their own names.
Okay.
Do you have thoughts on this?
I almost got left in a parking garage because of this.
I mean, Jonathan doesn't have strong opinions on many things, but if you do get, if you disagree with him on the wrong thing.
He literally turned around to me and went, no. I was like, all right. This is in Charleston. I was like, okay, guess
so
not.
So I'm confused. So does this mean, yes, his name is Obi-Wan? Like, his parents were like, your name is Obi.
I'm guessing.
But I thought his name's Ben Kenobi.
No, his name is not
did he
Ben
change
Kenobi.
his name to Ben Kenobi?
I think Ben is a...
I thought he was named Ben Kenobi and he changed it to Obi-Wan. No. Oh, I'm just mistaken then. Okay. His parents did name him Count then.
He was writing fan fiction as Ben Kenobi, and then he just adopted the name.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Episode 4. Yeah.
It looks like Dooku is his only name.
He's Darth Tyrannus.
Right, but, like, I don't think he has a last name or a first name.
So is Darth his, like, Darth name? Is that a thing? His Sith name?
Darth is, the Sith name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's like the mark of a Sith general.
But I think,
Darth.
the Star Wars, the Wikipedia article I just read just said his name was Dooku.
Okay.
Like, either no first name or no last. He's not like George Dooku.
So
I think George is probably his name.
I made the same joke last week. Oh, yeah, no, Seamus, I agree 100% with you, though. That whole first scene, like, until Anakin lands General Grievous' ship, I was, like, kind of bored with the movie.
Yeah.
And there's one really, like, awkward sequence where Obi-Wan won't stop talking over the communicator, and, like, R2's trying to hide from the droids, and he's just like, R2, come in, R2, come in, R2, R2, are you there?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, shut up.
Not only is that annoying, he does another thing that's annoying, where they get caught in the ray shields. He just looks at it like, you can tell the writers were like, we got nothing. We got absolutely nothing here. Because they get caught in the ray shields, and he looks at Anakin and he goes, wait, we're smarter than this. Like,
I did laugh out loud.
Yeah,
I was like, how did this happen? We're smarter than this.
I was like, there's no creativity to that at all. You could have just said, blast, ray shields. Yeah. And then, boom. I did see a funny meme the other day where somebody superimposed, like, Rey from The Force Awakens onto the ray shield.
Honestly, the best things about this film were the memes that came out of it.
Oh my gosh, Seamus, clearly you must follow us on Twitter.
I've known about the memes long before you started posting them on Twitter. Though, like, they're just
same.
The whole like. I've got the high ground. Just
hello there.
Hello
there. Yeah, honestly.
What an absurd line, in and out of context.
It was one of those lines where it's like the writing just made it seem like it felt so out of place. Like, I was like, why would you say that?
Right. I feel like they try to portray Obi-Wan as this sort of, like, the Doctor type character, like from Doctor Who, where, like, he'll just solve everything with diplomacy. I don't understand why in these prequels the droids don't just open fire, ever.
Yeah, immediately.
They're literally robots.
The droids are the worst.
Droids are the worst. Like, this man just dropped down, and, like, the pride of General Grievous is the reason that they're not just straight up murdering this guy. I just don't buy it.
Yeah, does a droid kill anyone of note in any of the films?
I don't think so.
Like, I literally think they were just there as like the easy people to kill in the game.
So what Palpatine is doing is he's like shuffling a deck, is sort of the way I see it, where he's got like the droids attack and they fight the clones who are better, but then the clones have to fight the rebels who are better, but then the rebels have to fight the stormtroopers who are better. And like, it's all just by Palpatine just being like, how many people can I kill if I start things with a droid army?
Right, and that's the thing is like, well, not even that, he's just got these two completely dispensable armies. Like, the clones don't count, they're not really people, as we've seen.
Right.
Like, or that's the argument they're making, is that they can just grow more of them. It's not a big deal.
Right. And they're based on a bounty hunter.
Right.
Like,
and the droids are obviously just parts. They're made in this weird lava planet, which we spend way too much time in both of these last two movies on lava planets, like different lava planets.
Geonosis is not a lava planet?
Yeah, it is.
I think it's just a planet like all planets that has lava in it.
Whatever. It's a lot of lava.
I think it's just molten metal. I think they're making that in the factory.
Whatever. It looks the same. Anyway, he's got these two completely dispensable armies, and he's just playing them at each other to make it look like there's a war.
Yeah, so that he can get elected into power. It's some Frank Underwood
Right,
stuff.
it's like nobody's actually dying. It's like nobody's really at risk. It's clones versus droids, and after the first movie at least, they're just battling each other.
It's genius, though.
Yeah.
Oh no, Palpatine is genius.
Yeah, he's a tactical mastermind, and that is completely, like, I didn't catch it really until this time watching it.
Is that like like we were saying, this is his origin story, and his overarching taking over the world is brilliant.
Yeah, I concur.
Right, and she even says it. This is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
That dude is so smart that he was able to like make all the pieces fall in the right place so that he can walk in front of the Senate and be like, your jobs are irrelevant, I'm the emperor now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they are like excited about it.
Yep, they just clap and cheer, and nothing bad happens.
Well, a lot bad happens.
A lot bad happens.
I think, so one of the things I want to talk about with the prequels is that a lot of people are like, or at least this was one of my concerns, was that like technology here doesn't add up, that it would be like the older technology to what they have access to in 4, 5, and 6.
I thought about this too. I wanted to bring up this very point. Literally makes technology look like it's gone back.
I think that's on purpose.
I was thinking that too, because like, yeah, you go on.
It's tough to sympathize with the rebellion, especially now with 7 and 8, where it's like, are the rebels even really the good guys? Where, that idea is kind of fleshed out. But when you look at like the technology that was available to the masses under the Republic, to the technology that was available to the masses under the Empire, and then you get to a little bit more background on like with the introduction of Finn's character, that like these aren't clones, these are mandatory soldiers taken from their families to fight for the Empire to squash a rebellion, and then just to be a giant empire so that nobody can ever question their authority. And it makes life so miserable for all the people living in that empire that you really do start to see like the value of the rebellion, because Naboo looked like a really cool planet in episodes 1 and 2, where like, there was this great, awesome, culture, and there was these different species interacting with each other. There was all this great technology, and now, under the Empire, you don't have access to any of this technology. You're using old school light boards to map out attacks,
Right, and I think that was actually one of the most clever things about the whole thing, is a clever way to get around the like, oh, we didn't have access to the graphic technology in the 70s. Like, how do we make it kind of look like that now? And you just, you got to think about it as it becomes this dystopia.
Yeah. I think it's more in Attack of the Clones. They just have like flying spaceships everywhere, just everywhere. The amount of CGI used is a joke.
It's hilarious.
I think it's still the most CGI ever used in a film ever. Is that?
I'm sure it is
a certified fact.
I don't know. I mean, certified.
The whole clone armies were CGI.
It looks very CGI'd. You can tell.
We talked about it last week, but I'm pretty sure for Attack of the Clones and Return of or Revenge of the Sith, they didn't make a single clone uniform.
Oh wow!
Like nobody is in a clone uniform.
It's just there's way too much CGI. You like half the scenes you can almost see the green screen they were using.
In the Grievous scene, weirdly enough, like all the under his gates and everything are like green screen color, and then you see it and you're like, why did they do it that way? Why would you choose that color?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because it was green, wasn't it? I was like, have they just left it green?
The one moment I really noticed that, like, it was an actor in front of a green screen was that scene where Palpatine is throwing the Senate chairs at Yoda.
Oh, that's awful.
I looked at that scene, I was like, this is the fakest thing I've ever seen in my life, because Palpatine's just sitting there like, ha, 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 ha. waving his arms back and forth.
Also,
Well, and I've got to... Go ahead.
okay, I was going to make a completely separate point, but talking about Yoda losing that fight, he goes into exile so, like, suddenly.
Yeah, he just gives up.
He's like, it's like, you thought it'd be like along the scene, he's like, I must go into exile now. I failed. And I was like, I knew that was going to be said, but I was like, that was just such a split decision.
I don't know necessarily. You got to think that was probably the plan, is that, like, they had to leave somebody behind. No matter what, somebody had to survive.
Well, here's my question.
Okay,
Say
yeah, I
Yoda
can see
wins that fight. Say Yoda kills the Emperor. Then what?
Then Yoda's still a political fugitive.
Right, like, he still killed the Emperor. There's still an entire army of dispensable clones that want to kill him, that have no, that aren't going to surrender because he kills a bunch of clones.
I see, yeah, that's fair point, actually, yeah.
But, like, I believe, I can believe that they would leave, they would plan to leave the Jedi Order to Yoda. Like, for him to be the factor that could bring it back together. So he has to go in exile to protect himself.
Okay. Yeah, you've explained it to me. For me, that was just unnecessary, but like that, well, not unnecessary, last minute.
I mean,
but
I didn't actually
sense.
think about it until you said it, and then I was just like, oh, wait a minute. So, like, I was just like, yeah, he goes in exile. Like, I guess he has to, because I had the problem where I thought of everything in this movie as just being a write-off, and
it's not.
That was my.
I think
that
it's
was
actually really clever.
That was my own cynicism, and the more we're talking about it, the more I'm starting to realize like how clever this stuff is. Some of it, some of it. What I did think was really cool is that they made sure to like emphasize the fact that Senator Organa's ship that he flies back is like the Rebel blockade runner.
Oh yes, I noticed that.
Because like that's
Only
probably
this time,
one of the only ships the Rebels have access to.
I've never
to,
noticed
like,
that before, but
to, like,
I noticed
rebuild.
that yesterday because because they used the same one in Rogue One, obviously, and I noticed it. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that's the ship that A New Hope starts in.
Yeah.
A New Hope. What a good movie.
What a good movie.
You said it was your favorite movie of all time, Tyler.
I did.
Do you stick by that?
He hasn't watched it since we did that episode.
I haven't watched that. I also haven't watched many other movies. So I've watched what we had to watch for the show, and none of these movies beat it out.
Yeah, no.
I think, I mean, more than anything, this watch through, this movie's a lot better than, the echo chamber of the internet gives it credit for.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think for the most part, the internet does appreciate this one more, because I feel like if this was the worst of the prequels and the other ones were better than this one, the prequels would have been very good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I personally prefer this to Return of the Jedi.
A lot of people do.
So
I'm finding out.
If this was the weakest one, then it could have been a very strong trilogy. But obviously the other two were just horrendous. So
hey, Attack of the Clones ain't bad, but
I don't like either.
Well, I mean, I will stand to agree that the Phantom Menace, even though the Phantom Menace, as far as special effects goes, has a lot of CGI, but it also uses a lot of miniatures. Like, that whole pod race arena is a big miniature, and there's a bunch of cool stuff in there.
I personally would love to see them remake the prequels and follow the Jar Jar Sith Lord idea. I would love to see them do that, but do it well this time, so don't make Jar Jar too annoying. But like,
what I would do, I would write Jar Jar out entirely. I love the Darth Jar Jar story.
I would make the reveal in the film like they did with Yoda, but I can see writing out Jar Jar entirely.
Yeah, so I think, Ethan, did I explain what I would wish the show or the movies did in the last episode? I can't remember.
No.
Okay, so here's my idea on how to fix the prequels if you were ever to remake them.
Okay.
And you get a little bit of freedom to change things. Is Qui-Gon Jinn would not die at the end of the first one. He would die at the end of the second one. Mm-hmm. I would pretty much take Dooku's character out of it. Entirely.
I think he wasn't meant to be in it in the first place, though, was he? He was just a cover-up, wasn't he, for Jar Jar?
Yeah, he was there like, oh crap, we can't do the Jar Jar thing.
Yeah.
So I would take that out, and then I would make Obi-Wan and Anakin roughly the same age instead of generationally separated from Qui-Gon Jinn. So it's like Qui-Gon and then Obi-Wan and then Anakin, all in like a generation order. I would make them roughly the same age, and when Qui-Gon goes to Tatooine and meets Anakin,
I would not say that Obi-Wan is generationally separated from Anakin.
I mean, he's older though.
He's maybe 16 in that first movie.
I would make them the same age then.
Okay, I'm just saying. It's close.
Because there's some really good evidence for it in The Phantom Menace where Qui-Gon's like, listen, I get that you're not supposed to have a second apprentice. I have to. Like, there's no choice. We have to train this kid. And then they're literally like the same age, like brothers. And then Maul kills Qui-Gon at the end of 2. And that is the rift that separates Anakin and Obi-Wan. And that's why, they're brothers, and then they kill each other, or one of them, they fight each other, and then Darth Vader, Obi-Wan. That's how I would do it.
I would do something very different. I would have just kept the Phantom Menace out entirely. Start with Anakin being the right age with Attack of the Clones. Just start there. With basically leave midichlorians out as well, and then have Obi-Wan training Anakin to be a Jedi, and then have like a similar one to Attack of the Clones, but make it good, and then have Revenge of the Sith as like the second installment, and then you're made to believe that Anakin gets killed off in the second installment, and then this new guy called Darth Vader comes about, but don't reveal that that was Anakin, then have Padme die, and then have a third installment that is completely different, that would be closer to Rogue One, not in terms of just all new characters, with the same characters to the most part, and then end with that Rogue One scene leading into A New Hope perfectly.
So you want them like right next to it?
Yeah, I would want it, perfectly, like, so you've got, basically leave one out and then have 2 free and like a 3.5 almost, and then lead in perfectly. I think they could do the Anakin Darth Vader story much better. Again, I don't think they should have revealed that Anakin became Darth Vader, because that gives away the big reveal that you want to be saved up for later in the story.
Well, and the fact of it is like, these movies weren't made to be watched as 1, 2, 3. Like, there was no way, and I guess they could have tried, but like, it just didn't work.
Yeah,
they were made for people who already knew that Anakin becomes Darth Vader.
Right.
I should have been told that, because it took me about 3 tries to get into the Phantom Menace, because I saw that as the first one. I was like, I need to watch the first one first. I could never get into it because it was like, this is just terrible. And eventually I did get into it because one day I must have been pretty old by now. I don't know, 11, someone told me to watch, and I'd watched them in a scattered order. Someone told me to watch A New Hope first, and then watch them in release order, and I watched that and enjoyed it a lot more.
Seamus, how old are you?
I'm 20.
Okay.
So, yeah. I specifically remember Revenge of the Sith, because that was the only one that was released while I was at school.
Whoa.
So, I remember I must have been 7 years old or something, and I specifically remember there were these, and I told you about this, Tyler, there were these lightsabers in cereal boxes, and I actually found one this morning, but I remember everyone had them at school, and my parents had no interest in Star Wars. My dad went to see the first one when it came out with his brother and had no interest in any of the other ones, just he isn't into it. My mum hasn't seen any of them, so as a kid I wasn't brought up into Star Wars, so I was never taken to see Revenge of the Sith in cinemas, but I remember that was like the first experience of it. Everyone was playing with these little toy lightsabers at school as like kids, and that was the first I ever found out about Star Wars, I think, really. And then I remember watching it at like friends' houses and stuff on DVD, but I watched it in a scattered order.
That's the thing, is I love hearing people who are like relatively our age talk about how they got into Star Wars, just because it is such a generational thing, and it's like, and these movies were made pretty separated out. There are 3 years between each of them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think there's like a micro generation even between like which of the prequels came out when you were old enough to go to the movies.
I would have been old enough to go see Revenge of the Sith with a parent, according to the requirements. But I didn't see it in cinemas. The first one I saw was Force Awakens, but I feel like my generation would have been, well, the first one I saw in cinemas, I saw all of them before that, but but my generation would have all gone to have seen The Force Awakens. I remember there was so much, because I was still at school when that came out.
But yeah, we were in junior high school, middle school. I don't know what you call it over there, but
yeah, we have very different names for it, but I get what you mean. I feel like junior high school, it's like 14, is that right? Or is it 17? I don't know. It's something like that. It's a teenage year.
So yeah, in Virginia, the grade is your age plus 6, or your age minus 6. Like in 12th grade, you're 18.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
So 6th, 7th, and 8th grade is middle school here.
Okay.
So we had just finished 6th grade when this came out.
When Revenge of the Sith came out.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I would have been, I don't know.
So yeah, I saw all of these in theaters.
Yeah, I did as well.
I think I even saw there was like a re-release of the original trilogy, and I think I saw A New Hope. No, I didn't. But we bought the set. I had them on VHS. It was great.
I talked about this when we recorded Phantom Menace, but Phantom Menace was the first one I saw, pretty much. Because I had,
Phantom Menace was the first one I saw as well, just not in cinema.
Yeah, because my parents were just like, or my mom was like, yeah, I'm going to go take you to see a Star Wars movie. And I remember, being like, wow, I can't wait for them to make more of these. And mom being like, haha, funny story about that.
There's a bunch more.
Yeah. And so that was my introduction to Star Wars, and I remember it, like, because I didn't care if I got it or not. It was a cool action movie. I was 6 years old. Like,
yeah, I wish I'd been around the age I am now, or maybe a couple, I don't know, give or take a few years, when those films came out and the internet was in full surface. Because, like, looking at the backlash The Last Jedi has got as a film, I would have loved to have seen, like, the kind of backlash The Phantom Menace would have got. Because, like, people are saying this is the worst Star Wars film ever, but, like, The Phantom Menace, I can't...
Phantom Menace is unwatchable.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what the response... Like, if there had been, like, a full-going internet like there was today when that came out.
In 1999? I talked to Derek about that. You know Derek.
Yeah.
Because he was, like, a proper high schooler when Phantom Menace came out and was, like, a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And he was telling me that, like, half of the people who saw it, like, it was so long between, it was, I guess not that long, it was 16 years, between, like, between Return of the Jedi and A Phantom Menace.
Feels like a long time.
Yeah, I mean, 16 years ago, I was, what, 9? That's a long time.
I was 4. I would have even started school.
Yeah, so, like, half of people were like, oh my gosh, lightsabers, yay! You know, choreography, Darth Maul, that guy was cool. Who's he? I don't know much about him. He must be a big deal. And then the other half of people were like, what just happened? Why did they ruined it? It's ruined.
That sounds like the response to The Last Jedi, though. Like, so half the people are like, yay, that was really great. And then the other people are saying they ruined it and signing petitions to get it removed from the canon.
I mean, it's rough with the canon. I won't lie about that. But what do you think of The Last Jedi? Well,
I really like it.
Okay, interesting.
I would say
it's not rough with the canon. It is the canon. Like,
there's one thing I don't like about it, or maybe more than one thing. The big thing I don't like about it is the Leia. Scene.
That's garbage.
Yeah, I just don't get what was going through their heads when they were like, yeah, this will be great, this will go down really well.
Well, I think what even makes it worse is, like, us the fans know that, like, she can't be in the next one. Like, it's not an option.
Yeah, I don't get why they didn't just take the opportunity and refilm all the rest of the scenes with her in, and excluding her character from it.
Right.
Because you could have very easily killed her off. There aren't even that many more scenes with her in. It would have cut out the scene with her and Luke, but, like, I feel like they could have easily got away with it.
I think they could have even left in the scene with her and Luke. They could have just done, like, it's a Force Ghost thing.
Yeah. They had the perfect moment.
And they had another one. They had more than one moment. They had the opportunity for her to volunteer to put the ship into...
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
For her to die like a proper martyr.
Yeah, there was so many opportunities to kill her off. But no, what I liked about it was bold, killing off Snoke. No one saw that coming.
Because I still don't know anything about Snoke.
I think that might be the point, though, and I quite like that.
You know as much about Snoke in Last Jedi as you did about Emperor Palpatine in Empire.
Well, and there's some cool things with the canon where, like, Snoke has his legs chopped off, and Maul does too. And then there's, like, an entire series about Maul not dying from that.
Yeah.
And, like, getting new legs and fighting people.
But, like,
and I think it would be...
pretty definitively dead, though, isn't he?
I don't think so.
He's shown to be dead, though. And didn't the ship he was in explode? Or have I made that up in my head?
I mean... So
who, Snoke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see him being alive.
Yeah, Admiral Holdo drives her ship through it. That's the whole thing.
Okay, but do you know who else's ship exploded while somebody was in it? Leia's. So that doesn't mean anything.
He looked dead. I don't know, but...
Here's my thing, though, is if generationally they get stronger, like, according to what Luke says in The Last Jedi, is that I've only seen power like this once before, and I wasn't afraid of it enough, and now I should be, or whatever, about Rey and Kylo, who you've got to be related, but whatever. If they are more powerful than Luke, and Luke was more powerful than Vader, then there's no reason why there are Jedi in this time that can't have the Darth Plagueis powers of just re-influencing life and making things come to life.
Yeah.
Well, clearly somebody out there has that freaking power because he's creating more Force people.
That's true.
Yeah.
There are more chosen ones being born.
I don't know if they're chosen ones. They just might be Force sensitive. Because, like, all of the Jedi Order is Muggles. Because if you're a Jedi, you can't have kids. So, like, they all come from non-Jedi parents.
So did Darth Plagueis the Wise create Anakin?
Yeah, for sure.
Is Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Some people said Sidious might have.
No, Plagueis creates him because he knows Sidious is going to kill him. That's why. Because he knows that Anakin will then kill Sidious.
Oh, I see.
It's like an insurance policy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Plagueis.
Well, he is Darth Plagueis the Wise.
It would be a nice way to tie it up if Plagueis was Snoke.
But the problem is the internet echo chambered the prequels into being like a Nickelback Nick Cage thing, and Disney is, I think, a little scared of being like, yes, this story is connected from that scene that everybody makes fun of.
Man, I said echo chamber one time 2 weeks ago.
I know. But it's such a correct line to describe.
It's just, you have since then, and I love it, because it's so accurate. But you're just like, echo chamber, it's an echo chamber.
It is an echo chamber. But I think me and Ben were talking about this in the car the other day, is like people like you, Seamus, and people like Ben and Jonathan, and maybe people like us in the future, I don't know if we've got the clout for it now, are the reason that Disney will not give us the story that we want. Because like, you go in, you make predictions about The Last Jedi, and you say, I think Snoke is Darth Plagueis. Like, I think that connection's there. And then Ryan Johnson gets on YouTube and he's like, well, crap, everybody figured it out.
I like that though. I liked it. It was so unpredictable, because it's impossible to be unpredictable, but you can see why people choose not to be, because the criticism it comes under, because it was just... Yeah. And like a lot of more criticisms coming under like Luke's character, which I liked quite a bit, because it wasn't what you expected. It wasn't just him being some wise old guy like every other movie ever.
Right.
It was like a human character with flaws and...
Well, because... So he's this direct parallel to Obi-Wan in A New Hope now, right? So that's what we're getting at. He's like the old guy that was kind of tucked away in the hills, but the parallel is there based on Obi-Wan's progression from, where he was in the prequels to where he ended up in the original, and then Luke from where he was in the original to where he is in the sequels. It's like Luke was always a snarkier kind of modern rogue type character.
Yeah.
And so people were expecting him to not be once he got older, especially being isolated for all those years.
And the one thing I felt was a little out of character was him just deciding to kill his nephew because he had dark side inklings.
Right, but he immediately decided not to do that.
Yeah, but like I think
that depends upon whose perspective of that story you believe.
I think this was memed as well, if that's a verb.
I'll take that.
to meme. Because everyone's saying like, oh, Luke, the whole original trilogy was saying Vader has good in him. Let's not kill him. He's got good in him. And then his nephew has like a tendency towards the dark side, and he's like, I've got to kill him.
I think it's more than a tendency.
Yeah, I agree, but
it's a pretty strong habit.
I mean, he's a Jedi. His father's a smuggler, right? Han Solo's not a hero.
He's a war hero.
He is a war hero, but he's also, he's not like he doesn't have an admirable job in his non-war times.
Good old Ben.
He shot Greedo.
Yeah, because Greedo was such a martyr.
His first scene is literally committing murder.
I've never even thought about it like that, but it's true.
So, hold on. Speaking of committing murder for a second, I want to go back to something, because there's something I have some issue with here. In back to the movie we're actually talking about, which is Revenge of the Sith. Okay, yes. So that first scene that Seamus hates with Count Dooku.
I don't hate the battle, but I hate the just context of it.
Anyway,
we're smarter than this.
I'm just kind of bringing it up that way. But anyway, in that battle, Anakin's like, "Oh, I shouldn't kill Count Dooku without a trial. This is bad. This is a bad idea." And then he gets back to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's like, "Good job, sport. Proud of you."
Yeah, the Jedi are so flawed there.
Yeah, like.
He's the only one
who
hero
seems to know this role.
The Jedi are so blinded. They think blinded by the Sith, but they're blinded by pride more than anything else.
Also, my major problem with it, and I remember this the first time watching it, Yoda struggled to take down Dooku. They kind of drew in Attack of the Clones, and then Anakin's able to take him I don't know how much later the film on is, but he's able to take him quite easily.
Well, I think what they're trying to show there is that Anakin is insanely powerful.
Yeah.
And I think Palpatine lets Anakin win. I think Palpatine has his hand in that fight.
Yeah, I think Dooku sacrificed himself.
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think Dooku sacrificed him, because he's so shocked when Palpatine tells him to kill him.
Yeah, I think Dooku realized what's going on, right before his head gets chopped off.
That was a solid bit of acting from Christopher Lee, I'll tell you that much.
Every time I see it, I think, if I was in his shoes, I would have just told Anakin that the Emperor was a Sith Lord.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why didn't he do that?
That was actually the reason I was thinking that Dooku sacrificed himself, is because he doesn't give anything away.
Okay, I can see that. Because, if it's a life or death situation and you know this might save you, you do it, right?
Right, unless you are like willing
Yeah.
to die for the Force or die for the cause.
Yeah, I can see that.
Another
We're talking
happy
about
landing.
Dying for the Force, and similar to the Yoda thing, and maybe you can explain it again, but the whole Force Ghost thing I felt was rather thrown in. It was
I
like,
thought that was so weird. They were like, we can make Qui-Gon a Force Ghost.
Further training we have for you.
but like, then we never see Qui-Gon as a Force Ghost, and it's like,
Yeah.
and
Unless they're really setting us up for something in like episode 9. Actually, I thought
what's
they
Liam
really...
Neeson doing now?
I guess they just needed to introduce the concept of Obi-Wan being able to be a Force ghost.
For sure.
That's exactly what I thought. It was like they need to bring up a way for Force Ghost to come into the film. They can't just have him discover this ability. How can we throw it in at least in the easiest way possible? It's like your former master discovered a way, and it's just like, no.
I mean, the way I picture them writing this movie is that there's a big whiteboard at LucasArts somewhere with two lines on each side, and down one column is a list of things that have already happened in the trilogy, and down the other column is a list of where things need to be to line up with A New Hope. And they're just kind of drawing lines back and forth, and they realized at the end that some of it didn't connect, and so they're like, oh, we need to introduce a Force Ghost, and we need to kill Padme, and...
Yeah.
And did you notice they wipe the memory of C-3PO, but they don't wipe the memory of R2-D2?
Yeah.
Oh, they wiped the memory. That? When did they do that? Did I just miss that?
It's like right at the end.
Right at the very end.
These protocol droids can go...
Yeah, when he gives the droids to Wedge Antilles.
Oh.
Yeah.
It still doesn't explain why Obi-Wan says, I don't remember having a droid.
No, nothing will ever explain that.
But I guess every time I say it, I try to defend him, like, maybe he just doesn't own a droid at the moment still. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, nothing will ever explain that or repair that, and I guess that was just something they're like, we have to use the droids, like...
Yeah, why did R2-D2 and C-3PO need to be in this film at all?
Oh, because they're in all of them.
Yeah, they're in all of them, but this was after 3. Why didn't, like, after they'd only made 3 films, like, why, they didn't need to include them, did they?
I am certain
The
that as much of a as I've heard Anthony Daniels was, that he had some kind of inclusion rider in his contract that said if they ever make another Star Wars movie, he has to be in it.
And I hate Anakin building C-3PO. That was like, he's a 10-year-old or something, and he's
building a protocol droid
that can speak how many languages? It was just instantly.
I mean, he is a slave. Like, I feel like a protocol droid would make his job a lot easier.
See, I was of the impression that he mostly, like, found C-3PO and was kind of repairing C-3PO.
No, he built that thing.
You think? Because there's lots of protocol droids later on.
There's a protocol droid in the first scene of The Phantom Menace.
Is there?
Yeah, it brings them their drinks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a female.
Oh,
so it's clearly, but that's what I'm saying, it's clearly, like, an established plan. It's like maybe he got a C-3PO kit.
Maybe.
He didn't build it from scratch, obviously, because it looks like all the rest of the protocol droids.
The real question is, why is C-3PO and R2-D2 in the new trilogy? That's what I want to know. You know who's way more interesting
They're not
than
in it
R2-D2?
half as much in this new one.
No, they're not, but
They've
they do
done
make
well.
appearances.
Yeah.
You wouldn't recognize me because of the red arm.
You know who's really way cooler than R2-D2?
BB-8.
BB-8.
Yeah, I like
Because he's
BB-8.
a circle.
He's a clear, like, just rebrand though. He annoyed me at first, like in the trailers and stuff. Before I saw The Force Awakens, I was like, this is just purely to sell toys, and that kind of frustrated me. But then when you actually watch the film, you're like, he's a great character.
Anyway, that's the film. You're like, I really could use a BB-8.
I have a Lego BB-8 sitting on my desk as we record this, staring at me.
I had another point that I wanted to make, being that, because from an earlier point we were just talking about, we were saying, how much did George Lucas actually have planned, like, before? Because I'm pretty sure he claims that he had these 3 films, like, planned inside his head while making...
I guarantee you he's as much of a goddamn liar as J.K. Rowling is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it just feels so many things are so... I feel like if I was given a year just to write scripts for these films, I could write a more filling, like, one that ties up better than what that
I won't
was.
pay you, but I will give you a year to do that.
But I feel like I could. I feel like I could write more.
I think any writing student at any art school in America or the United Kingdom or any English-speaking country could do it better.
I have no writing experience, but I just feel like it wouldn't be hard to do.
These
better.
are not scripts.
Yeah.
These are not. They're not screenplays. No established screenwriter ever touched these scripts. This is handed from George Lucas to the actors.
and just as many lightsabers as possible. Once,
right, and you can't understate the value of the choreography at the lightsaber battle, especially in this movie. Like that whole Anakin Obi-Wan fight at the end was incredible.
Yeah, I agree completely.
It's a lot of twirling lightsabers.
It was my big problem. Feel like I've said that a lot, but there were just in the original trilogy. They're like, oh, everyone loves lightsabers, if they're actually called that, because I don't think they ever say they're called lightsabers. But now they're like, we just throw them in as much as possible.
Well, yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to just throw them.
But I didn't feel like that was necessary.
I think the point I made about the lightsabers in our last conversation was that, maybe it wasn't in the last conversation, but it was the lightsaber. Like, everybody needs to have a lightsaber in these movies, because in these movies, there's so much more important. Like, the choreography is so much more impressive. And I think that's important because they're using them all the time, it makes more sense that they would be so much better at using them and so much more graceful with using them. And it lines up with The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, and that, like, Kylo Ren almost loses to Rey because he's not that good with a lightsaber because he has nobody to fight with a lightsaber.
He's never had to fight anybody with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
So it's like, mostly it looks like what he uses his lightsaber for is blowing up parts of Starkiller Base.
Intimidation.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, these are the movies where you see a properly trained Jedi Order. And I've brought that up a lot, but it's like, they know how to use the mind tricks. They know how to use the Force powers. Like, they're well-trained and well-versed in the Force, as opposed to just having some guerrilla training on Dagobah, or, like, 5 minutes of training and some blue titty milk.
Yeah, I get it makes sense that everyone has lightsabers, but I felt like they were so obvious. Like, the amount of, like, Grievous had, like, 4 lightsabers, and there were so many lightsaber battles in this film.
Oh, and there's no reverence for the lightsabers. Like, one of the things that I love about the new trilogy is, like, the reference and the reverence of that's Anakin's lightsaber. But in, like, Attack of the Clones, it gets chopped in half, and in this movie, he's, like, dropping it left and right. It doesn't seem like it's that important to him, and, like, how does Maz even end up getting it? And it just seems like the lightsabers are just a tool, right? We just built another one, here you go. Whereas, in the newer movies, it's like the lightsaber is like a connection. You have like there's reverence to it. It's created through the Force. I think I'm with you that is something I have a critique on. I'm not just going to defend every facet of these movies. I think they're a little liberal with their lightsaber.
I mean, I think you can look at it like this. In the original trilogy, it probably cost a lot of money for each second a lightsaber was on screen.
Yeah.
Like, it had to have been difficult. It had to have been very difficult to make that effect. With the CGI and everything in 1999, they were just like, yeah, we can do this as much as we want. This is the cheapest thing we do, is the lightsabers. We animate a little line over the stick you're holding.
Right.
Like, it takes 8 seconds. We have a computer program that does it for us. And so they're like, all right, cool, let's do it as much as humanly possible. We can do as much as we want. We don't have a dialogue line here? Have somebody hit something with a lightsaber. Have Anakin and Obi-Wan swinging on ropes and just, like, smacking each other back and forth like they're on a pirate ship.
That was a silly scene.
And then in the sequels, they're like, okay, guys, what did everyone about with the prequels? Okay, let's not do that. Because now it's 2014, 2016. They could do whatever they want.
Yeah,
it's true.
They've got. They don't. There wasn't even a lightsaber battle really in The Last Jedi, except Kylo Ren
Praetorian Guard.
Luke. I guess that counts, but it wasn't like 2 lightsabers against each other.
Oh, I loved that scene with the Praetorian Guard.
That scene. Probably because one of the best Star Wars scenes.
You finally got to see them do something other than get their rocked.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Who?
The Praetorian Guard.
Oh, I thought you meant.
And they do get their rocked, but like in this movie, Yoda just like knocks them out immediately. Just like, boop, done.
Oh yeah. So what's the point of them? Like, why does the Emperor need the guards? Like, he's the Emperor.
Because the people aren't supposed to know he's a Sith Lord.
Yeah, that's true. But then why does Snoke need them?
I don't know.
Because he likes them, man.
Yeah, I mean, Snoke is clearly big on his like traditional empirical,
he's
aesthetic.
big on presentation. He wants to look like a bad guy. Maybe not look like a bad guy, but he wants to look intimidating.
Yes,
and I think Snoke's face, not intimidating.
Snoke's ship and throne room and all the First Order ships and stuff are way more evil looking than any other ships in the whole canon. Like, on the inside, at least. They're just this very, like, ominous, like, obsidian color.
That's true. Snoke's an evil dude, man. Not as evil as Palpatine. Palpatine is so genius.
Yeah,
Palpatine,
it's cool. It's like a shining moment in this whole trilogy is when you finally realize the extent of his plan and how far back it's gone and how in-depth it is.
Well, and like a lot of times when you see a movie like this and there's like an evil person, it's like, what on earth even was your plan? Like, you were hoping that everything would fall into place in this way, and like you knew so-and-so would react this way to this thing, so you did it this way.
Yeah,
But it always ends up being really confusing. But Palpatine is like a real Frank Underwood. Like, everything he does for a reason, and it makes sense. Like, his plan was get there to be a disposable war, and then turn that war into a real war, and through that, rise through the ranks to become Emperor.
Right. And he just happened to find...
story's great.
He happened to come in contact with the chosen one along the way.
Also, I don't know if you guys have seen this, as someone who makes theories on YouTube. There's this like theory, I don't know if it's popular, but like that Mace Windu and Yoda believed they were the chosen one, which is why they like didn't trust Anakin, because they wanted to be the chosen one themselves.
I believe that.
Because
they have so much pride.
I mean, I've seen some whacked out theories.
But I think I read that a couple days ago, and so I was watching that with that in mind, and I was like, yeah, that makes total sense. Like, even when Obi-Wan confronts Mace Windu, he's like, he is the chosen one, right? And Mace Windu like stutters, and he's like, yeah, and then Obi-Wan even like denies it. He's like, the prophecy may have been misread or something, and you're like, yeah, they're in denial about him being the chosen one.
Well, I read a similar theory actually today that Mace Windu is actually a Sith and is working with Emperor Palpatine.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but it was well constructed.
Well, what's his name? Samuel L. Jackson doesn't even think he's dead, so...
Hey, fair enough. I mean, he did just kind of fall off.
Yeah.
He didn't.
So I know we ended up talking about this a while ago, but I just want to circle back around. The Force Ghost things with Qui-Gon can mean that Liam Neeson can come back in the Obi-Wan movie, and I think that they can make the Obi-Wan movie take place between A New Hope, or between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, and there can be.
I mean, if
Liam Neeson.
if they make the Obi-Wan movie, it would almost certainly take place between Revenge of the Sith and.
Well, that's where they're all taking place, isn't it? Because that's where Solo's taking place as well, isn't it?
Solo needs.
Your guess is as good as mine, Broham.
Solo's a problem because it's a Star Wars movie, and they're going to want to introduce a Jedi in some way, shape, or form. I think that like there's no way
they didn't with Rogue One really, other than Vader.
There's a lightsaber in it.
Yeah, there's a lightsaber.
Han Solo specifically says, "I've been everywhere, all across the galaxy, and I've never seen none of this hokey religion."
Yeah, and yeah, I guess it depends when it takes place, but I feel like all these like Star Wars stories are going to be taking place in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. But like, I think it'd be interesting to see one like in between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, or like in there, just to like see something from there that's actually decent from that time.
So how
the Clone Wars TV show isn't bad.
How much time?
I haven't seen it.
How much time goes on between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope?
Why? It's got.
I think it's 30. Well, no, it's not 30 years. That's between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. It's however old Luke is at the start.
Yeah, like 16 years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Han Solo, when the events of Revenge of the Sith take place, what would we say? Like 15, 20?
Well, he's in a romantic relationship with Leia, who would be like 18 in Empire. So I'd hope he's like, I don't know.
There's no way you're passing Harrison Ford off as 20-something. I'm not saying this.
I'm saying this. Yeah, but I feel like maybe he was playing that character. I don't know. It's probably written down somewhere.
Probably.
If you Google it.
I think I read somewhere that Han Solo in A New Hope is like 23. Or no, like 28. And then in Solo will be in his early 20s. I could be mistaken though.
He's 33.
Alden Ehrenreich's character looks a lot younger than Harrison Ford's character.
Well, yeah, it's not going to take place in between. It's definitely going to take place before A New Hope. Yeah, it says 33 years old when in A New Hope Harrison Ford was. So 28 would be reasonable.
Right.
20. It says Han was 29 and Luke and Leia were 19.
Okay.
According to Quora.
So 19, 20 years.
Chewbacca was ever like, hey, Luke, I knew that Yoda guy.
Yeah, talking about Chewbacca, I always get really confused with his importance in this film. Like, he was some sort of like Wookiee general or something. Like, he was important, and it's like I felt like they just threw him in for the sake of throwing him in. He's an old friend of Yoda. Yeah, and it's like I just don't feel like that was necessary to include at all. It was a way of putting Chewbacca in the film.
Exactly.
For sure.
I personally was like, there would have been better ways to include it, because they had the whole like Wookiee Island scene. Like, they could have just had a Chewbacca character there.
What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
Yeah.
There's some emotional scenes in this movie.
Well, like lots of characters die.
Yeah. like right in front of you.
Yeah.
They just kill him right off.
Yeah, most of the characters die.
Golly. But they also don't, like, one of the big flaws, I think, is that they don't really develop a lot of the other Jedi in, like, the Jedi Council.
Yeah, and you see...
really
You know a lot about Windu, you know a lot about Yoda. Windu dies, that's pretty sad. But, like...
But it's like, yeah, it's Windu, Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Anakin. They're basically the only Jedi. As someone who hasn't seen any of the TV shows, or really anything other than the films, they're the only characters I really know anything about. Like, when you see, like, the other Jedi, like, especially the ones that don't put up any fight against Palpatine, you're like, well, they were just kind of irrelevant. How are they even Jedi in the first place?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's like, that whole scene of all of them dying off, and I'm like, okay, you're dead, don't know your name. You're dead, don't know your name. Oh, girl with the squid tentacle hair, you're dead, don't know your name.
Ayla Secura.
What?
Is that her name?
Ayla Secura.
God bless you.
Yeah. It's Ayla Secura, that's her name. And Ki-Adi-Mundi and Kit Fisto, and I think those are all of them that die in that little...
Kit Fisto is an uncomfortable name. I'm just gonna say it. That makes me uncomfortable.
He's the green guy with the like squid hair. I guess he fights against.
Who's the guy with the really tall head? Ki-Adi-Mundi. Okay.
Yeah. What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
That guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ki-Adi-Mundi. He's a Jedi Guardian. Well, he's a Jedi Master, but he's Guardian class. His blue lightsaber. That's what that means.
And Mace Windu has a purple lightsaber.
Yes.
Yeah, because Samuel L. Jackson wanted a purple lightsaber.
Yeah. Mark Hamill literally talks about that all the time. I feel like I've watched like at least 6 interviews where he's mentioned that.
Can I tell you something about Mark Hamill and me? We've never met or anything. I just want to communicate that I don't think I'm a Mark Hamill fan.
Oh, okay.
I think, like, I love Star Wars, obviously. A New Hope is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I love Empire. And Return of the Jedi is pretty good. And I love the new movies. I'm, like, not crazy about Mark Hamill's, like, public persona.
I think...
He's just, like, go ahead.
I feel like I interrupted you.
No, I just feel like he's annoying, is all. Like,
I feel like he's one of those who tries to be down with the kids, kind of.
Yes. Yes. It's like he was famous in like 1977 to like 1985.
And then he dropped off the face of the planet.
Well, he worked on like animated series as a voice actor for like 30 years. And then all of a sudden he was Luke Skywalker again.
He was on The Flash as well, the TV show.
They blew his head up in Kingsman.
Yeah, he's been in a few things.
And he's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Did you see that tweet thread?
I saw that he asked to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
It looks like they agreed it, though.
All I'm hoping for is like a miniature cameo.
Yeah, I feel like that's the most it'll be. Like David Hasselhoff's
he is a villain part. Yeah.
I'm hoping that he's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, as am I. But
when was what's his name? The guy played by Chris Pratt. Like, wasn't he around at like that period of time?
He left Earth in '88.
Yeah, Star Wars was done.
So if they had like a flashback scene.
But Mark Hamill's not young.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that, to be honest. That's a very good point.
I didn't either. I was totally on board, Seamus. I was just like, yeah, get like a young Luke, and then I was like, wait a minute, that's not how time works.
I think you could just throw him in the background, kind of like the ET people in the Phantom Menace. I
like that.
But the problem with all of that is there's like canon and stuff like that, and it's like, well, now there's Jedi in the MCU, and then Seamus, people like you and I have to make like theories.
Oh no, that's great. They're just giving us material. Like, I love it when they do stuff like that.
Yeah, Seamus is sitting here like, please, this is great. I can make so much money off of this.
Films that make mistakes are the best kind of films. And Easter eggs. That's why I love Pixar so much. Like, they have so many Easter eggs just everywhere.
That freaking Pizza Planet truck, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but like, it's just cameos. Like, it's because they're animation, so every animation company does it. It's like reusing animation.
Right.
Discovering reused animation is like my version of like hitting the jackpot. It's like you discover reused animation, you've got a video there. It's like it's so great. It's like oh well, that links then, doesn't it? And that's how it works, really.
Seamus, what is your release schedule? How often do you release? Or is there a schedule?
There isn't really a schedule to it. I basically just upload when my videos are done. I wish I had like a fixed schedule, but I'm not good at I try to do 2 a week, but I can't think of ideas to make 2 videos a week most of the time. So
do you do a day job?
No, I don't. I do it full time.
Okay.
So I'm fine for like money in terms of doing it full time, because it's very family friendly, and CPM's fine in terms of that. And I'm you'd have an idea of your brother's like, I don't know how much, like, how far off I am in getting similar views, but I'd be like a fifth of what they make, probably. I'm not sure. In terms of subscribers, at least, that's how many more they have, ish. But that's what I do. But like, I spend most of my days just cranking for ideas, looking for ideas, and most of the time I can't think. For me, it's more about quality over quantity.
Oh yeah, that's the British YouTuber way. Charlie is so cool, like.
But I'd rather upload one video that gets, let's say, 750,000 views than 2 videos that get 400,000 views. Because I feel like that one video will get more subscribers coming through than the 2 videos that get 400,000. It's a better video.
The YouTube mentality is so different than the podcast mentality, where for us, it's like, I want to see steady growth over time. Like, there's no viral podcasting except for like Serial. Or if you get picked up by like an article or whatever. But that's rare.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, you want slow growth. My growth isn't like I had spikes in my growth of my channel. Like, I don't know, like when I first uploaded my first theory that did well was Huabu's parents, and your brother John must have picked it up at about I don't know, 1,000 views or something. He didn't share it at the time, but they shared it. Ben like mentioned it in a video like a month later or something, and it had like 200,000 views by the time he'd mentioned it. But it just got views from being suggested to people that watched similar videos.
Right.
And that's how it slowly started. And then after that, it's all about just gradual. I haven't had that many viral videos in a while, to be honest. But
but you have the algorithm. I'm so jealous of your algorithm.
Yeah. I feel like I set a target of trying to get 400 subscribers every day. That's my target every day. And
do you hit it most days?
I had a very good patch in late January throughout February till about the end of February, where I was getting 500, 600 a day.
There you go.
And it was like, everything's going great. And then suddenly hits the end of February. I don't know if there was like a half term at schools and people were off and then they went back, but like just hit the end of February and just down. It just shot down, and now it's like 300 a day. But it's like, I don't know. I mean, like there are phases where it's going well and there are phases where it's going not so well, and phases where every video you upload gets 100,000 views within a week. And then phases where your videos struggle to get 40,000 views, which isn't a phase I'm in right now. When like a month ago, everything I touched was just hundreds of thousands of views, and it was like everything was great. And then now it's like slowed. But like, and I can never put it down to it. I don't know if the videos I'm making are worse now, if just less interactive audience, and it's like you just can't read into it too much and just keep going.
Yeah, we've definitely discovered that.
Yeah, that's a fascinating list of words you just said. I'm sitting here, I love hearing all of these experiences and learning from other.
I mean, I haven't said anything in like 5 minutes. I'm just sitting here listening and learning.
I'm not. I try to give tips to people as well in making YouTube videos. Because like I feel like there are loads of things to do, like in doing it. Like it's all about making what you want to make. Is really the go-to thing with anything, really.
Oh,
like,
for sure. Every time we pick a new series, and we haven't had a problem with it just yet, but every time we pick a new series, it takes me like a movie or two to be like, oh, wait a minute, I freaking love all of these movies. Mm-hmm. And then I think the only time we kind of had to struggle with that was after Back to the Future Part 1, we had to watch Back to the Future Part 2. Which I just...
abysmal movie.
I just did not like.
Yeah, that's what I find, because I personally, it's an unpopular opinion, but I didn't like Moana. And
I know you didn't.
And I think I said this, I made a video about it, and every like theorist kind YouTuber that I've seen has made a video on Moana and got more than 3 million views on it. I don't have one video on my channel that has 3 million views. I'm pretty sure your brothers have 3 million views. I've seen like every like channel that does that kind of content, one of their biggest videos is on Moana. And I could have made a video on Moana. I could have easily done it. And it would be probably the biggest video on my channel. But I chose not to, just purely because I didn't want to make a video on it. And it's like, do I regret it or not? I don't know.
It doesn't, I mean, based on the conversation you and I have just had, it sounds like you do YouTube full time, which is obviously a taxing job and it's hard, but it's also literally the dream.
It is.
Right? So, like...
I don't feel like it's a job. That's my definition. It's like, especially like comparing it to like Super Carlin Brothers, they get up, they go into work in the morning. I literally film in the spare room next to my bedroom. It's like I wake up in the morning, I go get breakfast. I don't even wake up in the morning. I wake up in the afternoon. I go get breakfast, and then I just do whatever. I'm like, well, let's see what video ideas come to me today. It's like, it's not even a regular day process. I'm basically free whenever a friend wants to meet with me, unless I'm like working full hard that day. And I'm like, no, I'm not free today. I'm definitely not free. And like, I basically, a video for me especially, is like, I could go days without having an idea, and then I have an idea and my friends won't hear from me for 2 days. and it'll just be like, where were you? I was like, oh, I was working on a video.
No, Seamus, you're 20 years old. Have you ever had like a
No,
real person job?
No. I did professional singing at the age of 10, 11, 12, 13, as I was in a choir and I got paid for that because it was professional choir.
They can pay you for that?
Yeah, if you're in like top tier choirs that like sing professionally, like do CDs and sing on the radio. Like,
yeah, but I thought like in America, if you're 10 years old, you don't get that money.
Yeah, no, you can still get that money.
Paid. You don't get paid much, and you don't get to access it until you're 18. It appeared in my account recently, actually. Well, not too recently, like 2 years ago, but yeah, you get that sort of thing, and that's actually what I grew up doing. I literally would have been singing in choirs like out, like, I don't know, more than I was at school almost. It was insane. But then when your voice breaks, then you can't do it anymore because you're not. They need boys. It's a boys' choir, so you need boys whose voices aren't broken. And then you train them. But then when your voice breaks, like, they can get men to do that have been trained for years and years and years. So you're not nearly as experienced, so you lose the job. But it's like a short-term job, and you do it for 5 or 6 years. And that's what I did. And that was the only real job I've had. And I don't think that classifies as a real job either.
So you've never like gone into an office and like...
No. I thought I would, to be honest. I thought I had the like standard plan of going to university, like finish school, go to university, and then get a regular job like everyone else. But YouTube just took off for me at the right time. So I made the choice not to go.
So because you didn't even go to university.
No.
College.
I chose not to. I thought, why? I wasn't enjoying school as well. That was a big factor for me. I was like, why waste my money? And like, it's not a waste of money, obviously, but it's why go into education more when I could do something I really, really want to do more than any job I feel like I could get on the end of university right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's what I just chose to do. I said, okay, I'm going to take YouTube really seriously for a year, see where it takes me. I had about 20,000 subscribers at the time when I thought this. I wasn't making enough to do it full time, but so let's take this really seriously. A year later, I had 170,000 subscribers, I think.
And is that enough to live off of, do you think?
I think that's enough to live off of, especially when you're living with your parents and don't have any reason to spend money on anything. It's very easy to live off of.
Do you still live with
I do still live with my parents, yeah.
Interesting.
Because most of my friends are at uni, like 95%.
Are we in that 5% that's old?
I wasn't considering you as like, I was mean like friend in London.
Cool. Right, yeah, no, I get it.
And I have like a couple friends who's still at home, and like a couple friends at uni in London as well, because London's a big place. But like, yeah, so you have people at home, and like I see them all the time. I have one friend I've been friends with since I was 4, called Josh, and I literally meet up with him twice a week because he's at home. He works for his dad's business, and I meet up with him twice a week because he's like one of the only people around. And it's like, yeah, it's just, that's what I do. And he's free a lot as well because obviously he's got a job as well.
Right.
He chose not to go to uni as well. So yeah, I made the decision myself. And my parents as well, like I was talking to them about it when I first made the decision. They were like, because they didn't understand it at all, and I'm sure that's the same with every parent.
Right.
They were trying to like, they were like, I told them I wanted to do YouTube, and they interpreted that as, oh, he wants to get into like film and stuff. So they were trying to get me like work experience placements at film companies and stuff. And I was like, no, I want to focus on my YouTube. I don't want to go get an internship. And I think they got me an internship at Paramount.
I'll take that.
Okay.
It wasn't an internship. It was work experience for like 2 weeks for free or something. And I remember saying to them, like, I really want to focus on YouTube. I don't want to take 2 weeks off. And I think that week was like a week where it just blew up for me, like that I didn't take those 2 weeks off. I think I gained, like, it was sometime earlier this year, and I gained like 30,000 subscribers that month or something. And
oh wow,
I remember thinking like, yeah, if I had taken that that work experience placement, I might not have even got to where it was.
Yeah, so you're like not letting yourself be in the wrong place at the right time.
Yeah, I know. And I'm glad I chose to. Now I've got no problem with even like I feel like I could not upload for a month and my views wouldn't go that low, because you get so many views every day just from people watching old videos.
Right. That's where the bulk of our downloads come from. Like
was that wrong?
This episode is going to be what?
You said you couldn't. You didn't upload for a month. Did your views go down?
I could not upload for a month. I upload every week, but I feel like I could, and my views they'd go down significantly, but I still think I would get 20,000-30,000 views a day by the end of the month.
Does that just not blow your mind that there's 20,000 people
at least?
Like
most days it's 50,000-60,000 at least people watching.
Does that
if
not
I upload
like
100,000?
Like when I think about the numbers we have, and that like people will sit down and listen to Ethan and I talk about anything for an hour and a half, it's like that is mind-boggling.
Yeah, it is mind-boggling. The number's hard to get your head around. I think one thing really hit me was on Sunday, so a couple of days ago, I did a live stream on YouTube, and it peaked at 2,000 views at one point. Like there were 2,000 people watching at once. And I was just sat there thinking, like, there are 2,000 people, and I'm sat right where I was sitting during that live stream right now. Like, and there were just 2,000 people just sat there, and I didn't know what to say. I was just sat there, like, and usually like, in a live stream, you read the comments and you find something. Comments were going too fast. I couldn't see them. I couldn't read them. There were I don't know how many, hundreds of comments coming in every few seconds, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, there are so many people watching me right now.
Oh, I know. It's got to be completely overwhelming. I did an Instagram live earlier today. I think I peaked at 13 viewers, and they were commenting too fast for me to keep up.
It's like, yeah, so, it is hard to get your mind around it, and it's more confusing in person. Like I more people recognize me in the streets every day. Well, not every. I don't go out every day, but
England's a small place, man.
It's especially London. Like I have most of my subscribers live in America. It's probably over 50%, but of the 14% that live in England, I think it's like 40,000 or something of my subscribers. Then I imagine if there are 40,000 subscribers in the United Kingdom, there's split around Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and England. There's got to be like 15,000 people in London that are subscribed to me at least.
Mind-blowing.
And that's the city I live in. So that's 15,000 people that be out and about.
Yeah, there's Manchester and
in the United Kingdom. There's quite a few.
Cornwall and Belfast and Edinburgh and I don't know.
Cardiff.
I've heard of that one.
That's the capital of Wales.
Bristol and I don't know.
Brighton's even counted as a city now, even though it doesn't have a cathedral, which just breaks all the rules. But that's a completely different. Apparently, but the Queen said it was okay and it could be a city. I don't really understand it. It's a completely different conversation.
So
that I don't have any knowledge on.
Seamus, you know what's funny about that live stream you were talking about? While you were doing that live stream, I was watching Revenge of the Sith on my computer, sat where I am, with a notification stuck on my screen that wouldn't go away about your live stream.
Well, there we go. That's why there were so many people watching, wasn't it? It just wouldn't... No, actually, one interesting thing I noticed, and I lost a lot of subscribers during that live stream, which I found weird, but also I was expecting it. Because it's like... A lot of people are subscribed to me just because they think I'm going to post theories about Pixar, let's say, and because that would be the first video they watched of mine. And that's all they want to see. They don't care about anything else. And say I haven't posted a video that's a Pixar theory that's been good, that they wanted to see, that they've enjoyed for a couple months, they're going to unsubscribe. And I don't even post all that many theories. My channel's gone just in a completely different direction to what I thought it would go. Like I just post all sorts of things now. It's basically just a library of videos I've made.
It's a sandbox.
Yeah, I just throw stuff in there. If I want to talk about something, I'm going to talk about it. If I don't want to talk about something, I don't want to talk about it. Like I don't even make that many. Like I've made like one Harry Potter video this year, and it's like, wow, I used to make loads of them, but
how Hufflepuff of you.
I know, it's like
I'm sure you find that quite unusual.
But it's like I'm just gonna make what I want to make. Like, I haven't even made 200 videos on my channel, and it's like I just make whatever I want to make, and if people want to watch them, that's great. If they don't, then there's a bit more of a problem. But
So wait, you have how many subscribers approximately right now? I'm sure you know the exact count off the top of your head.
I can actually find the live count is at 239,132.
Okay, and you're getting 50, 60,000 views a day?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good return on those subscribers, from what I understand.
I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. Like, well, I just uploaded like an hour ago, so the views will be higher now. But yeah, I think it is good. But like, you can then, in my defense, I've only been on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for less than 2 years, so it's like if someone has subscribed to me, they probably subscribed to me in the last 18 months.
Well, yeah, and I think what you find is, you know, when you lose subscribers because you go live or whatever and people get that notification, you're not losing anything. Like, you're losing that number on the sub count, but you're strengthening a community. Like, you're getting rid of the people who don't want to be a part of it.
I tweeted out something very similar the other day. I'm gonna go reference this tweet because I think losing subscribers is almost important to YouTube, because if you focus too much on losing subscribers, you don't want to lose subscribers. You're going to make such like
vanilla videos, right?
Yeah, like they're so focused. Yeah, you're not gonna. I don't really care if I lose subscribers. I made that video called "Why I Don't Like Moana," and I think I lost 400 subscribers that day. It was insane how many subscribers I lost that day, just because they disagreed with my opinion on a film, and I was like, okay, I get it. You disagree with me. You don't like my opinion. That's fine with me. But
that's wild.
It's like, but so many people would not share an opinion like that because they don't want to lose the subscribers. But if you're afraid to do something like that, you've got automatically less personality in your videos. And the reason people subscribe is because they want to see your personality. They want to find someone they can relate to. They want to find someone they find funny. And if I'm just gonna sit there and be opinionless, then it's just that's not what's gonna gain me subscribers.
Well, and it's also, you know, just I've known you on the internet for a while. It's just not who you are. Like, Seamus has opinions. That's who Seamus is. Seamus has thoughts on things.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. But I know a lot of YouTubers that don't don't share their opinions. That's what I said. I said too many people are trying to get into YouTube. They find an audience and then they just play it safe. They don't take risks. They find an audience that likes what they do, and then they just think, okay, I can just keep making videos like that. But like, how about you take a risk? You try something different. It might not work, then fine. But if it works, then your audience grows even larger.
Yeah, I think what's important to remember is, you know, that first video I made that went viral might not have worked. So yeah, I might lose some of my audience that loved that first viral video I made, or that first, you know, big whatever it was.
Yeah.
But now I might get a whole different type of audience coming together. And if I make 2 videos with 500,000 views and none of those people are the same, then it's better than 2 of the same videos with the same 500,000 people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I get that, yeah.
I'm reaching 1 million people instead of 500,000.
And you can look at YouTubers who just have an audience for something and then use that audience to grow into make videos what they want to make. So they get this audience by making something, then build that audience into something new with this starting audience. They can start making what they really want to make.
Yeah. Well, this has actually been a super interesting conversation on the intricacies of YouTube.
Yeah.
I have a quick question before we move back.
Okay.
Seamus, can you give me like a 1 minute or maybe like a 30-second, however long it takes? Why do you hate Moana?
Okay, I can briefly explain it. It's probably not the best reason, but the first time I watched it, I was watching it with my girlfriend, and we were both like, it was fine. It was, we were enjoying it. It was okay. And then we like got to the end of the film, and the whole film was like finding Maui his hook, and like so he could turn into this demigod. I've only seen it once, where he so he could take on this green creature thing. I don't know what she is, but like she's like some lava monster, and then she turns into this creature. Tafiti, that's it. But then he flies off. Firstly, it's very obvious he's going to come back, but then she basically takes Tafiti on without his help, and then comes back, and then he comes back and kind of helps her, but like she didn't really need his help, which means the whole story of her going to find him, facing Tamatoa, all those like weird coconut creatures, was kind of irrelevant to the rest of the story, I felt. And I remember us both thinking that, and we were both like, oh, this was a little disappointing. Like, we were expecting more, almost, from it. And it was just, I don't know, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I don't hate the film. I think the animation's great. It looks really good. The music's great, I think. And I don't think the characters are that bad. I just didn't really like the storyline that much.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But, like, I've heard someone make the argument, like, well, technically isn't Inside Out a film you really like basically the same, where they could have just put the memories through this headquarters and send them straight back to headquarters.
Whoa. You don't need to explain. I mean, obviously, we asked you to explain, but, like, it's okay to like one movie and not like another movie that has a similar story. Like, that's okay.
Yeah, I think it's okay. But someone's like, how can you dislike this one and not dislike this one? I was like, okay.
Well,
but
I mean,
because it's different characters.
The problem is once you start once you start approaching movies like that, it's like you can make that argument with pretty much any movie. Like Anakin or Qui-Gon Jinn could have just killed Anakin Skywalker as soon as he found out about the midichlorians in Phantom Menace, and we would have never had Star Wars. The whole series would have just been like, exactly. Done, neat.
I completely.
There's always an easy way out. That's what makes it a story.
Hermione could have killed Harry on the Hogwarts Express as her first spell. Like, I've learned one spell, Avada Kedavra, and then it'd been over. It's so disappointing.
Oh my gosh.
So, but real quick, give us your final thoughts on Revenge of the Sith, Seamus.
I like it. It's definitely the best of the prequels. Personally, I think it should have been the middle one, and there should have been, like, a real Darth Vader story afterwards, leading into A New Hope, so we got, like, more about Darth Vader. But I don't think there are too many. There are mistakes in there, and there are flaws, but I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it's a good movie. It's enjoyable. I don't know too many people who'd watch it and be like, that wasn't a good movie. It's a fun movie to watch. And it's got a lot of fight scenes in it. It's full of action. And, yeah, it's just an all-around good film.
I very much agree with that. I think that, it's not a 10 out of 10 like our positive review at the beginning might have said, but it's a solid movie. You know, it's really enjoyable to watch. I found myself while I was watching it getting emotional with the characters. And, there's a couple of, like, weird shots and stuff like that. But overall, I like the action. I like the characters. I actually like the dialogue. And I really love the villain. Probably more than anything else. So that's my thoughts. Ethan's, what are your final thoughts?
I'm with it. I mean, it was, it tied the prequel trilogy together, I think, was probably as well as it could have done, based on what they had already set it up with. It's like I said, they had a lot of loose ends to put together, and they did it pretty well. I mean, it was a good effort.
Awesome. So let's rank our villain here. We've got Sheev Palpatine, the Emperor, or do you want to do Darth Vader?
Both.
Sorry?
Porque no los dos.
Sheev is a great villain. He's definitely not Heath Ledger by any means. Our scale here, Seamus, is from Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Returns.
Okay.
Batman Forever.
Batman Forever,
okay.
Where he's playing Two-Face, and he just keeps flipping the coin, which is something Two-Face would never do. All the way up to Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, playing the Joker, which is a role I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yes, very good.
That's the greatest villain of all time.
Yeah.
I think we fall... Go ahead.
Oh no, that role's never gonna be. They should leave the Joker out of films for the future. Like, no one's ever gonna improve upon that.
Yeah, no one's ever going to improve upon it. And I think if anybody could have, it would have been Jared Leto, because he's such a good method actor, and he did it so poorly.
Heath Ledger died for that role.
Yeah.
Like, he literally put his life into it.
Yeah, let's not make that a standard, though.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I completely agree.
Like, I'm cool with great actors not dying for roles.
Yeah.
Like...
Right.
So we're starting with Palpatine.
Yeah, I think Palpatine is a solid 8.5.
Yeah, he's pretty high up there, in my opinion.
Yeah,
he's smart.
I think maybe 9.5. Like, he's definitely one of the best, like, sci-fi villains ever.
He's
like,
just the way he orchestrates everything is genius.
If you compare it to, like, Voldemort, for example, whose just plan is completely flawed, like...
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like, most villains, yeah, I think it's great. Are you ranking on acting or just, like, the villain plan?
Just the villain.
Overall? Yeah, I think...
Like, that character.
The only real flaw for it, for me, was there wasn't a big reveal of it. They were trying to make it out like it was a big reveal, but it wasn't.
Yeah, to me, there's no doubt ever that he was the Emperor.
I think it was implied in the Phantom Menace as well. Like, Yoda literally says there's always two, and then the camera shoots him, and it's like, okay.
Well, so... I mean, also his name is Emperor Palpatine in A New Hope.
Yeah, that's...
Like, its name is Emperor Palpatine. Like, there's nothing else I can really say about that, because, like, they would have had to name him something else.
Yeah, you're right.
Wait, is Sheev his first name?
Yeah.
Sheev Palpatine?
Yeah.
All right. Steve Palpatine.
Vader in this movie, I don't know. He's middle of the pack. I just don't care.
He's much better in Rogue One.
Rogue One is sweet. And well, not Rogue One is sweet. I want to be very careful about how I
Yeah, because James Earl Jones' delivery is a lot better than Hayden Christensen's.
Yeah. I think his turn to the dark side was quite sudden.
It is quite sudden, but it's what they've been building up to this whole time.
Yeah, so why did they do it within like 10 minutes or something of film time? Like,
right.
Couldn't they have made... Well, I guess he killed off people in the film before, but I feel like still they could have had a whole film dedicating to him turning to the dark side.
I think they did. I think it's called Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, but like he turned so quickly, like over a longer period of time.
I think it's something that's, the Force is such like a ethereal thing. It's it's not something you can see. You can see its effects, but you can't see its itself. So I think that they had a hard time doing that spectrum of like, okay, at the beginning of this movie, he's full-fledged Jedi. He is saving Obi-Wan and doing all these things, but he's not. At the beginning of the movie, he's cutting Count Dooku's head off. It's like, that's not what a Jedi would do. And then by the end of it, he's, slaughtering Viceroy Gunray and all stuff like that. And it's like, he almost starts off a little too evil, But I'm with you there. I'm giving him a 5.
I can agree with that.
I'm gonna give him a 5, yeah.
I can agree with that.
Maybe a 6.
Now the movie, so we need to rank it. We did 2 rankings here, Seamus. We do a Star Wars ranking. Where does it fall within the Star Wars series that we've watched already? So that would include The Last Jedi and now all the prequels.
Okay.
And then we do just an overall of all the films we've ever reviewed ranking, which it's fine if you don't know all the movies we've ever reviewed.
It's the Marvel ones, Back to the Futures and...
The Last Jedi.
The last... You've done The Last Jedi?
We've done The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that's exactly it. So even
would you like a list of all 24 movies we've done so far?
I can make a guess to the number.
Here's what we
do you want
do.
a really accurate placement?
Do you think this will be in the top half of movies we reviewed or the bottom half?
Probably the top half.
I don't even know at this point. I'm looking at our list and I'm like, this is a tough one.
The thing with Marvel movies, they're very formulaic and a lot of them aren't that memorable, in my opinion. So I don't know. I would say it ranks in the top half of Marvel movies, and the majority of the films are Marvel movies on this list, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like the non-formulaic Marvel movies either are terrible or are great. The Incredible Hulk doesn't follow the formula and it's terrible. But then there's like Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor Ragnarok, which are just amazing. And also don't really follow the formula.
Well, okay, so let's start with the Star Wars ranking then. That'll get us somewhere. So is it better than the Phantom Menace?
Yes.
Is it better than the Clone Wars or Attack of the Clones? God, I keep getting that wrong.
Yes.
Is it better than The Last Jedi?
No.
There you go. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 8 so far for Star Wars.
Well, it's 8, 3, 2, 1.
Right, from the bottom up. Okay.
Yeah.
So that puts us. Let's see. Oh gosh.
So here's what you can do, Ethan.
Yeah.
Where do we have The Last Jedi ranked?
The Last Jedi is 2.
Okay, and where do we have Attack of the Clones ranked?
18.
Okay, so that we can cut 6 movies out.
Yeah, that's why I said let's do that first.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, so Last Jedi is ranked 2nd on your all-time film list?
Yes.
That's highly ranked.
So Last Jedi...
I said I liked it, but...
Last Jedi will get re-ranked when we do it as the two of us, because Ben was on the show when they ranked it.
No, you and I ranked it.
I know, but Ben was on the show when we did the review. So I think we're going to do a second review on the digital and Blu-ray copy, because I think just the hype of Star Wars around Christmas time might have been a little powerful. And I could be wrong. We could get back to it. But as of right now, it is ranked number 2.
Okay, let's see. I think I can think of... I'm trying to think of every Marvel movie off the top of my head, but there are so many.
Well, what Ethan will do is he'll start at... we know it's better than Attack of the Clones. We'll start at 17, and he'll just say, is it better than our 17th? Is it better than our 16th?
Is it better than Thor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it better than Iron Man 3?
Yes.
Is it better than Ant-Man?
Ooh,
No.
I wouldn't say it is, no.
Okay.
But I might say it's better than some of the ones higher up on the list.
Okay,
but...
so you want me to keep... Yeah, you want me to keep going, or...
Yeah, I want to keep going.
Ant-Man that low?
Yeah, Ant-Man's 15.
Yeah, Ant-Man is... That Ant-Man's a really good film. I just love the Mexican guy in it.
Luis.
I feel like he's the only reason I like the film, to be honest, but
I mean,
he was great.
Same. Okay, and then, Seamus, I know you're going to disagree with this one.
Is the Winter Soldier next?
Is the Winter Soldier is next, yeah.
Oh, got 14th.
14th.
Wow.
Winter Soldier is what we like to call overrated here at Bacon and Eggs.
That's fine. I really liked it.
So, Tyler, is it better than The Winter Soldier?
I still think no.
Okay, so it's not better than Ant-Man or The Winter Soldier.
Correct.
Okay, so that would make it the new 16.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
What are some of the other films you've got up there?
Do you want me to read the list off?
Yeah.
Okay, so number 1 is Back to the Future.
Okay.
Number
Okay.
2 is The Last Jedi.
Okay.
3 is Thor Ragnarok. 4 is
Okay.
Black Panther. 5 is Iron Man. 6 is Spider-Man Homecoming. 7 is Captain America Civil War. 8 is Guardians of the Galaxy. 9 is Age of Ultron. 10 is the normal Avengers. 11 is Doctor Strange.
Oh, would I? No, I wouldn't. Oof. No, I haven't found a film that I would rank it over yet.
12 is the first Captain America. 13
I would rank it over that first Captain America.
You didn't like the first Captain America?
Not really.
Well, so we're in the same ballpark.
Yeah. The only other one I was thinking I stuttered a little on was Age of Ultron. Not that big a fan of it. I much prefer the original Avengers.
We hear that a lot.
Yeah. Eventually, we're going to be brought to trial on that, I think, on ranking it over the original Avengers.
Well, when Infinity War comes out and it's better than both of them, there'll be no problem.
I mean, according to you, the Avengers movies have been trending downwards, so who knows?
Well, yeah, but this one looks good.
Fair enough.
It's got Thanos in it.
So we'll stick it underneath Ant-Man. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
I love all those movies.
Yes.
I'm surprised Guardians of the Galaxy is so far down our list, but I like all the ones above it. So
we kept sticking stuff on top of it.
yeah.
I didn't really like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that much.
Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is currently 21st now.
Oh wow, that's low.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but I wouldn't have
Oh no, sorry, 22nd.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean,
It was good. I didn't feel like there was anything special about it.
there's nothing. It's not better than this movie.
We've got it as the third worst Marvel movie.
What would be what are your worst two?
The Incredible Hulk and Thor: The Dark World.
Fair enough. I can vouch for that. I would say Captain America: The First Avengers down there though as well.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I really didn't think it was good.
Our bottom movie, probably, I'm hoping for a long time, is The Phantom Menace.
Well, what would you have to be reviewing to?
I don't know,
trump
The
that?
Room.
Chamber of Secrets.
Do you not like Chamber of Secrets?
That's
I don't
the
really
worst
like.
one.
I don't really like the Harry Potter movies that much as a whole, but that's a completely different.
Chamber of Secrets was a good
Hell.
movie. It was a bad book. Sorry.
I disagree. It's the other way around.
I just think they're all pretty bad movies and all good books.
I mean, yeah.
The only bad movie was 6.
Yeah, I don't like 6 that much. I Deathly Hallows Part 1 as well. Ugh.
6 was the best book, but the worst movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Except Deathly Hallows Part 1's the worst movie because that movie's just irrelevant.
Interesting commentary.
Such a Hufflepuff.
Am I? I feel like I need to like vouch for this. I keep getting called a Slytherin. Like even in the Super Colin Brothers Discord, I'm referred to as a Slytherin now. It's an ongoing joke on my channel. People just say I'm a Slytherin, so I make jokes about it. I'm like, yeah, it's awkward that you guys are appreciating me as a Hufflepuff because I'm a Slytherin. But I am a Hufflepuff, obviously. It's just a joke.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're clearly a Hufflepuff.
I feel like it's pretty clear, but
So we're both Ravenclaws. We actually did this on the podcast where we did
yeah,
the
I
Pottermore.
saw this one, and you said Hufflepuff was a third tier house.
Yep.
Do you listen to every episode, James?
No, I've seen a few. I don't listen to too many podcasts because here in the UK, I feel like in America you could just go for a drive and you could be driving for days and then you have time to listen to podcasts. I don't really go anywhere that is gonna leave me just to listen to something for.
Do you have a car?
Based on
hours.
what
I don't
you
drive.
just said, and all the Frank Turner music I listen to makes me think that you people in the UK just think we all get in cars and drive for hours and hours and hours and hours.
I
for no
do have an
reason.
impression you drive a lot from my last visit because like there are so many more cars. We especially where I'm from in London, people don't need to drive.
Had you ever been in a truck when you got in Ben's truck?
I got in Ben's truck. I told him that car would be illegal here. Like it had so much fuel. I don't think I ever have. No,
Interesting.
but yeah,
I drive 30 miles to work every day.
yeah. That's
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you do.
that's incredible. I can't.
Oh, I
even-
drive close to 100 miles a day.
I get up and walk across the corridor.
Tomorrow I'll do that because I'm working.
You
from
use
home.
words like corridor.
I driving 100 miles in the UK. You don't do that. I feel like
I mean, I have a very specific type of job that requires me to drive. Like, I drive the same 30-mile radius, but I drive 100 miles.
I used to have considered a long commute to school, and it was a 2 mile.
But you probably like city traffic.
Oh, I just walked it. I didn't get driven.
A 2-mile commute is a long walk.
It was about under 30 minutes if you were doing it right.
If I was in elementary school,
Yeah, no, I lived
Oh
2
no,
miles.
I meant secondary school.
I live 2 miles
is
from my
that high
secondary
school?
school.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, secondary school is what. Oh, I don't know what you'd call it, but it's like 7. This last 7 years of school.
that'd be middle and high.
Okay.
Yeah, I lived 2 miles from our high school, and I drove there every day in a car with a 6-cylinder engine.
Yeah, cars just is used much, or you get the tube places here. We've got very, very good public transport.
I'm like saying all these things like I've never been to London. Like I don't know what it's like.
When we were in London, Seamus was walking to secondary school for like the first time.
When did you go to London?
We played for the Diamond Jubilee in 2012.
Okay, wow. So I'd have been well into school by then, but yeah, I would have been.
You would have been like secondary school.
You would have been.
Yeah, I'd have been.
You would have been on your winter holiday.
I'd have been 14.
Yeah.
It was New Year's, like Christmas time. You would have been on holiday.
Oh, I'd have been on holiday, but yeah.
We call that vacation here.
Yeah, you do. I knew that. That's one of the words I'm familiar with.
This whole conversation has been so baffling to me. Your language is so different.
I could hear Ty start to get mad when you talked about going to university, because he has this thing when American people call it uni.
They're wrong. It's not what it's called in America.
Oh, what do you call it?
It's college.
See, for us, college is the last 2 years of school. If you go, you can choose. If you move, there's sixth form, which if you basically stay at your secondary school, and then there's college. It basically just does 2 years.
Okay, so
it's a very different
States,
thing.
For the definition is murky because so many places are just called university now. But the way I was taught is that a university is somewhere that has a graduate program, but a college is where you get your undergraduate 4-year bachelor's degree.
Okay, I don't really know what that meant, to be honest, as a non-uni goer. But yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Anyway, I don't like it.
What's an A level?
An A level is the last 2 years of school. But
Why would
the
you
exams
make
you
it 2
do.
years?
Well, you do. You have for your last 4 years of school, you have your GCSEs, which take 2 years, and then you have A levels that take 2 years.
When do you take your OWLS?
I don't know what that is.
The Owls? What do you write videos on Harry Potter?
Oh, you wrote. You said OW. I just didn't. I would have understood if you said owls. I didn't process it. I thought that was like a terminology.
No.
Owls are the equivalents to GCSEs in Harry Potter,
and newts are the equivalent to A levels.
The equivalent to A levels. Yeah,
that's fascinating.
At least in J.K. Rowling's mind, that's what it would have been. Also, I found out recently that houses don't exist in American schools.
What
they do exist?
What do you mean?
Oh, do they? I was told they weren't. Maybe it was just that one person.
That's not a thing.
Oh no, they exist. Yeah, we have houses. We have houses.
What does that mean?
Yeah, it's just like to sort you into things, like for like a school sports day, for example, the teams you'd be in.
We kind of had that, like in like 6th grade. Like when we were 12, I was an owl, and I think Ethan was a falcon.
Yeah, that's basically the concept of it. It's like for school sports and stuff, you had like just teams, and you teamed up. And that was your house, but they called them houses. But we didn't have any like intricate sorting ceremonies or anything.
There was no hat.
There was no hat.
Okay.
This was it, but I'd have been put into my house not before, but like it would have been a thing before Harry Potter was really a thing. And they are named after former teachers, so I guess that's traditional.
Interesting.
My house at my school was called Roberts, and it was the Red House. So the more you know.
The more you know.
This is fascinating.
We really do need to wrap.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably your longest one ever.
No,
they always go this long.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This has been a ton of fun, Seamus. Thank you so much for having us, or for joining us.
So, thank you for having me.
Seamus, what is next for Seamus?
What's next for me?
Yeah,
on my channel.
This video goes viral.
No, but I mean, where do you see yourself go? Like, what's your I don't know. Anything big coming up?
I want to start making Stranger Things videos.
Do it.
That's definitely something. And I'm just branching out to doing lots of stuff that's just nothing to do with Pixar Hyper. I'm just going to make more comedy videos, to be honest. Because that's what I started doing on my channel and it didn't have any success. But I still want to do that. So just stuff to entertain people.
Fair enough.
That's the dream right there.
When are you coming back to America?
June.
Yeah, we're going to meet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, are you guys coming?
Of course we're coming.
That's terrific.
Yeah, we'll be there.
I was actually Ben still hasn't replied to me, but I need to message him.
That sounds right.
I was talking to Ben about arranging the trip. So
he always texts me back.
Well, you're his brother though, so
yeah. Sometimes there was a time when I wasn't like creating content that it was occasionally challenging to get in touch with them.
Yeah, well, I don't get what Ben does, to be honest. Like he does this like aquarium stuff, but he also does the Super Carlin Brothers stuff.
He owns a business that he has managers for, and then he steps in when he needs to, but he's pretty hands-off, and he full-time does Super Carlin Brothers.
That's great.
Yeah. No, Ben's got it figured out.
He works out a lot.
I know that. He took me to the rock climbing gym.
Yeah? Was it hard?
I never rock climbed before I did it. And then Jay recorded it for his vlog, and it just looked so embarrassing, because it was like, this guy has no idea what he's doing. Got like half the way up like a thing and fell off, and it was like, oh, this has been seen by 60,000 people now.
Yeah, that's every one of Jay's vlogs. And every time, hanging out with him is interesting because the camera's always there.
I think that's good though.
Oh yeah, his son's gonna hopefully love it.
Oh, if Luke doesn't like it, then
Burn it all. Just hit that delete button on YouTube.
oh,
All right. Well, let's go ahead and sign off.
Well, we never get to breakfast food.
Oh yeah.
oh, breakfast food.
Is this crumpets? I don't know what crumpets are.
Crumpets, and it's also something you eat with tea.
Crumpets or something? Do you do tea? Is that?
Well, not really. You'd do it on a Sunday. It's because you wouldn't do it on a working day, but it's like, I don't know, you'd have lunch at 12, 1-ish, and then you'd have tea, maybe 4, 5-ish, cup of tea, have a scone or crumpets or something, and then...
So crumpets aren't a breakfast food then?
Yeah, I guess you can do whatever you want, really, but that's when we'd have them, and then on Sunday, and then you'd have dinner after that.
Interesting. So if you had to give this movie a breakfast food, Seamus, what would it be?
A breakfast food?
Yeah.
Oh, so... Oh, can you come back to me? Can you guys do yours so I can think?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you.
I was asking you because I didn't know what to figure it out.
I almost forgot about the breakfast food. I mean, I did forget about it, but like...
Yeah.
God.
This is a very tough question.
It is a tough question. We run into this problem a lot, but I think
So it's something good that, like, it would be tasty, but, like, it's not...
What is, like, the
best
connective
breakfast.
tissue of breakfast?
I don't know.
Because it, like, brings everything together.
You don't have courses at breakfast. That's
No.
the problem.
It's a rug, man. It really ties the room together.
Right.
Honest,
Go ahead.
I'd just say toast. Is that an acceptable answer? Just toast with, like, jam on it or something.
I was thinking, like, hash browns, which is, like, potatoes.
I was only thinking jam because it could be sticky and it sticks. It fits everything together. It's like sticks everything together. I don't know. That was my metaphor.
No,
We'll go with it.
I like that because it also it completes it all. You know, it is like Ethan's negative review says, that piece of the puzzle that connects it all and takes away. It answers a lot of questions, which has its own problems.
Creates
but
more.
yeah, I like that. Toast with
Oh,
jam.
you call it jelly, don't you? Am I correct in thinking that?
Well, no. Jelly has chunks. Jam is smooth.
Other way around.
Okay.
Other way around.
Do you
Jam
know
has
what
chunks.
jelly is to us?
Jello, like
Yeah,
like
that
gelatin.
is correct. Yeah. So, first time I heard of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I was very confused, to say the least.
What do you put on your sandwich?
Well,
Jam.
we definitely don't mix peanut butter and jam, but
Jam. Okay.
but but peanut butter and jelly, to my knowledge, when I first heard it, was spreading peanut butter on what you would call Jello on bread, and I was like, sorry, what? But
That would be great.
exactly what I thought. Not that peanut butter and jam doesn't sound gross. I've never had one before, so
I've had this specific conversation so many times in my life.
I feel like it's so popular it's got to work, but I can't see why.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so Seamus, how do people get in touch with you? Obviously, you know, you probably don't accept DMs from everybody, but where do people find you on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube? And...
Oh, am I going to be able to plug everything?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is the
plug it
time.
all.
Great. So I've got different @s on everything because I didn't think it through as a child. So I've got Twitter @Gorman Seamus, which is, and then my Instagram is @SeamusGorman4. Yeah, that's basically it. My channel's called Seamus Gorman. If you search Seamus Gorman into the search bar, Seamus spelled Seamus because no one knows how to spell it. Into the search bar, you'll find me, and we'll find you.
No one knows how to spell Seamus?
No, it's always an H in there by some people.
Oh, I learned how to spell Seamus when I angrily tweeted back in his New Year's at some point. I angrily tweeted, Ethan and I watched all the Harry Potter movies.
Tyler went on a rage fit
And
about
I-
Seamus Finnegan.
Oh, not a great
I
character.
live tweeted how much I hate Seamus throughout this movie.
No, I've experienced a life of people being unable to spell my name. It makes me wish I lived in Ireland because everyone knows how to spell it over there because it's an Irish name.
What does the Queen think of that? Is she not your fan?
I've never met the Queen, but
I've met the Queen.
Have you?
No.
No, but I played for the Queen, but she wasn't there.
I have friends who have met the Queen, but like I don't think it's as much of an achievement if you live in London because she's basically always around. Well, not really. She's not like walking around the streets.
You don't just run into her at Tesco.
No. I'm glad you knew Tesco.
We've been there.
Yeah,
man.
we stayed there for a whole
I'm
week.
impressed though. I'm impressed with your knowledge. It's better
You're
than
not running into the Queen at Pret.
Pret a Manger.
Well, see, we got familiar with Tesco because the area of the city we were staying in, everything except pubs, Indian restaurants, and the Tesco Express closed after 8 p.m.
Like, there's actually a Tesco Express very near my house that's 24/7, which is very convenient.
Yeah, so we ate a lot of food from that Tesco Express.
That's literally my dinner tonight.
Yeah, because
even though it's 3 a.m.
We were jet lagged at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is 7 a.m. Our time or whatever, midnight our time. I don't know how time shifts work, but it was
yeah,
either early or late, and we were hungry at 3 o'clock in the morning. And
from what I can tell, Seamus has been jet lagged since he came to America and then returned to England. He's been on Eastern Standard Time the whole time.
That's not. That's true.
It's 3 a.m. where he is.
I think I was in a pretty bad sleeping pattern before I came anyway, because I remember Derek asked me when I arrived in the office, are you feeling jet lagged? And I was like, no, I wasn't affected by it at all. I literally just got off the plane and I was like, I'm fine. This is my regular sleeping pattern. I was just waking up in normal times.
Right.
But it does get messed up every now and again. Every now and again I sleep for 4 hours. Say I've got a flight to somewhere in I'd book a flight 9 a.m. or something, and I'd be like, oh, okay, I've got to get up early, and just don't sleep.
That's crazy. Well, thank everybody for listening to Bacon and Eggs with Tyler and Ethan. And this week's Seamus talking Revenge of the Sith. As always, you can get in touch with me. I'm at AmeriCarlin. It's America RLIN on this side of the pond on Facebook. On Twitter and Instagram, not Facebook, but on Facebook you can join our Facebook group, Bacon and Eggs Fans. You can search it and join it. Seamus is not a part of it. Sorry about it.
Oh, I'm joining right now.
Oh, you are?
Facebook.com opened up. I don't use my Facebook though, so I very much. I've deleted the app, but I'll join.
Okay, Seamus is a part of it.
Fair enough.
This is shocking. Typically our high clout guests do not join.
Oh, is it Bacon and Eggs Fans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found it. 4 posts a day.
Yeah.
That's incredible. The admins are you and Ethan. There we go. Found it.
This is so exciting.
I'm going to add you to
approve it. Yeah.
I'm going to add you guys as friends as well. So
asked to join. Approve.
You're in the
I approved him.
As did I. That was crazy. Seamus is a part of the Facebook group, so you can always chat with him. 2 mutual friends. I'm going to guess they're Benjamin and Jonathan.
Yep.
And you can get in touch with Ethan. He's at Wow Now on Twitter and Instagram. The O's are zeros.
Yep, that's
and you can get in touch with the podcast at Bacon and Eggs 23 on Twitter. We have a ton of fun over there on Twitter. It's our favorite way to communicate with people, except for, of course, the Facebook group, which is just endless fun. What else do I say, Ethan?
You can go to patreon.com/baconandeggs if you want to help us keep the lights on around here over at Bacon and Eggs, as well as, what else do we do?
I think this is everything.
I think that's everything we talk about.
Our artwork is done by Vashaun Brandon. If you want to get in touch with him, let us know. Baconandeggsmedia@gmail.com. You can get in touch with us at any time for anything. If we don't respond, it's not because we don't like you. It's because we haven't gotten to it.
We have jobs. Sadly.
We unlike old Shamey here.
And until next week, arrivederci.
Anakin, I've got the high ground.
Oh, do we stop recording? Okay.